Happy Sunday night, 10:33 p.m. So we still got about an hour and a half left. And on a January 28th, 2024, what the fuck was Dan Campbell thinking Sunday? Dude, just kick the field goal. Just kick the field goal. I don't understand. I didn't have a dog in the fight, but damn. I mean, how many fourth downs do you have to blow to move on to something else? You handed that game, and granted, the 49ers hung around long enough to win the game, but they scored 20 points. Each of those field goals that you should have kicked would have broken up that momentum. If you kick those field goals, you win the game. Ended up losing 34-31, and he's had a great season. The Detroit Lions have had a great season, but the Niners were done. The Niners were finished. The game was 20. One of the field goals was 27, 30-20 or 31-27. No, it was 24-27 Niners. You kick that field goal, you stop the momentum. And there was another one, you kick it again, you probably could have taken the lead instead of, having to play down to the last situation. The play calling in this game was just dumb. And you know what? I know, and I got a bunch of Niners fans that are like, and by the way, Niners won me money because they didn't cover. They were never going to cover a 7-point spread. They just weren't that much better than Detroit. Some of if you look, the two teams that they faced, Kyle Shanahan is an excellent coach. And he just sorely outcoached Dan Campbell, first time here at this level. And I forgot the coach of can't even think of him right now. I'm pretty sure you guys in the chat. He was literally light years ahead of what they were doing as far as the game goes, because he's been to the NFC Championship game like 3 or 4 times in the last 5 years, and to one Super Bowl. Unfortunately, the next guy, he's not going to be able to outcoach. San Francisco opens up as a 3.5 point favorite. I only bet once a year, and it's usually on the Super Bowl, but unless I see something that I just know I can make money off of, and the 7-point spread was stupid. There was no way they were going to beat them by that much. I am done betting against Patrick Mahomes. I think you have to be an absolute bucking bull at this point to bet against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. The only Super Bowl that they lost was against arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, who had already won 6 previous Super Bowls. So I think Vegas is going to take a bath on this one because I can say guys like me who don't bet but annually are going to go ahead and take that. I'm going to take the KC straight up. There's just too many weapons. If KC, if that had been Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes instead of Dan Campbell today, and they were up 24-7, you might as well, like I said, you might as well just start, changing the little graphics and getting those ready. And like I said, my only question is does Taylor Swift, get the hold of the Lombardi Trophy out when it's over? Like I said, the only way I see anybody going for, taking that bet is if you're a Niners fan, of course, but I'm just there's no way I'm betting against them in this situation. But like I said, I don't think, like I said, earlier, listen, Lamar Jackson, damn, dude. That game's been over for about 10 hours, I guess, 12 hours maybe. Nah, about 10 hours. I'm still looking for who Lamar Jackson was throwing to in the end zone. All I saw were Chiefs. I mean, but the game ended there when the one running back fumbled the ball in the end zone. Dude, just tuck the ball in, and you fall, you're in. Worst case scenario is if they get you because you didn't extend. I don't know why people put the hand out doing that shit. You tuck the ball in, you're down at the 1-yard line. You're getting in the end zone. That cost them the game. So both games ended today on field goals, I think. And like I said, they're coming here to Vegas. Taylor Swift, and they had a little graphic up of her with the Super Bowl already. And I'm like, but yeah, it was just so much mismanagement today, and just too many dumb mistakes by teams. But So it's a rematch of the 2020 Super Bowl. I personally, like I said, no dog in the fight. I got Taylor Swift stuff that's going to be happening like the next 2 weeks. You're just probably going to want to hate her, but she's going to bring a lot of people to the game, a lot of females to the game that would have normally not watched the NFL. And I think whenever you have somebody intergenerational talent like that can add to your audience, I say you take it. But yeah, it's going to get people. If you didn't like Taylor Swift coming in, you're going to hate her for the next 2 to 3 weeks. So. All right, Brad, what's going on? I don't know if you're a football guy, but yeah, I just watched these games today, and I'm like, dude, Dan, what are you doing? It's 4th and 3. You kick that field goal. It's 20. It's tie game. The other one, you're in the lead, and then you keep getting stopped on 4th down, and like, what are you doing?
Yeah, wasn't really following so much. I'm not really a NFL guy, but I mean, I saw enough to know that a lot of people are really pissed off about the game today. So that's kind of all I was going off of.
Take the play. He does it. He managed today's game the same way he would have done it in the regular season, and I can respect that. But in the regular season, if you fuck up, you come back the next game. This you can't leave in playoff games. You cannot leave points on the field. And like I said, they gift wrapped that game back to the 49ers, who, to their credit, hung around long enough for the stupid shit to play in their favor. And some luck, because one of those catches bounced off a guy's helmet and then back in, which was completely ridiculous. But yeah, so it's going to be either matchup. To be quite honest with you, either matchup. I even if Detroit had won today, they're getting beat by KC, in my opinion. San Francisco won today, they're getting beat by KC, and I just don't see McCaffrey's like the one player on that team that I say, well, wow, that guy's 10 levels better than any running back KC has. But there's Patrick Mahomes, there's Kelsey, there's just the fact that they're the defending champs and they seem to live at this level. There's nothing that they need to get used to. They're going to play in a stadium that they're very comfortable playing in, the Raider Stadium here in Vegas. I don't know, man. Like I said, I definitely don't think San Fran should be favored. At best, it should be a pick 'em. It's a neutral site game. In an environment that they literally live in. They're going for it. And then I got to hear the dynasty talk. Are the Chiefs a dynasty? Technically, I mean, 3 and 4 years, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I thought it was fun today. Watching some of that. I just it's like I'm screaming. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? I wanted to win my bet. So, there you go. I did.
Well, as we all know, of course, it's my fault, as Larry has
Dan Campbell. He's a fun dude to watch, but damn, dude. Just kick the field goal, man. Kick the field goal, punt. Don't let them, And then the receivers are dropping balls too. Jared Goff was putting it on them, and they were dropping balls. They dropped at least 3 or 4 first downs in that second half, and he was putting it right on them. And there were some ones he threw behind. Lamar Jackson I don't know about this guy. He's going to be your second. He's going to be he'll be the MVP. I know he'll be a second MVP. He'll be a Hall of Famer, but at some point, dude, you gotta make better decisions. That last interception was like I said, I'm watching it and I'm like, all I see is red and yellow. What the fuck did you see? I want to see like a camera on your helmet because I didn't know you can't. That was like quadruple coverage, and I'm like, what? And of course it got picked because there was no way it wasn't gonna get picked off. But like I said, hadn't that guy just fumbled the ball? I mean, he's in the end zone. He's in the end zone and he fumbles the ball in the end zone and it's a touchback. And then that was it. That was it. He wouldn't, that interception wouldn't have mattered as much. And he probably wouldn't have been that desperate. But that, like I said, you saw 2 teams that had been there multiple times and, another team that really hadn't. Baltimore has been there before, but a long time ago. That was like 2011, 2013, 2012 was when they were back in. So you saw the teams that were really experienced. And then you saw the teams that weren't. And you saw the team that's been to a Super Bowl and been to the last 3 or 4 NFC championship games. And then Patrick Mahomes he's been in the NFC or AFC championship game every year since he's been a starter. He doesn't know anything but this level. So you saw it there, and it was, like I said, it was fun to watch. But I put the link to the song. Larry Kartorowicz was recommending songs. I got a chance to review the first one that he sent me. In the background, don't want to get kicked off the internet. Bones of Birds. Oh, I don't know what album this came off of, But I vaguely. So this is Bad Motor Finger. This song's really nice. It's a ballad, but with slow winding power chords in it. There's a live version on here too. It reminds me of Soundgarden 1994, 1995. That's got to be where this era comes from. So, Larry, if you're out there, and I think you are, I love that song. I love that song. It is one of those songs that it brought me back to 1994, 1995. That's where it took me. It had those kind of with the simple power chords, but still had a semi guitar solo in it. And Chris Cornell's voice does what Chris Cornell. His voice is like an extra guitar string. So there you go. All right, let's hit the chat because I know I probably went too long in football. I don't know if I have a football crowd, but hey, I watch.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like I can't bring a lot of deep commentary to that myself, unfortunately, because it's just it's not really my sport. I kind of went into that last night, but
yeah.
Brad, you're merely a the dog. I'm just
No more Bane. No more Bane is banned. Bane is banned.
Which, by the way, I think I saw last night. I forgot to bring this up. As either Larry or Spider-Man. I forget which one of you, but one of you said it's like, no, by the way, I'm not Williams Bane, whoever that is. So whoever that is, please identify yourself one of these days, or keep us guessing, as you're probably
fourth. My guess was fourth.
Yeah. Okay, let's get some serious. Dork Knight says, dumbest shit I saw from ABC News is them posting about the Chiefs winning, and they had Taylor Swift on the banner like she was an effing player on the team.
Yeah, trust me. And they had a graphic of her at the Super Bowl. Usher's the halftime show, but trust me, you're going to get a healthy helmet of Taylor Swift. And you know what? That's the right answer. Because, like I said, she's bringing revenue. She's bringing people to the sport, and that's what you do. You want to grow in the NFL as big as they are. They always want to. You never want to stop growing if you can. And Taylor Swift has got people watching the sport that were not watching the sport before. It's going to drive people crazy. They're probably going to be the rooting. San Francisco is going to be rooting. People just can't get her tired of Taylor Swift. But she's a very she's a transcendent star, and like I said, she's probably going to be on the field. What's his face? The commissioner is going to hand the trophy to her. Because I do believe KC's going to win, but Also, if you guys want to support the sci-fi,
I said he was on today.
Oh wow! You know what? Not everybody's in the NFL. Not everybody. Listen, I know a lot of people who are just not into the NFL. I watch all the sports. So, if you guys, oops, no, that's the video. I put the video in there. This is the Streamlabs links. If you want to tip the center, you want to help, support, all kinds of stuff that we do here. There you go. Streamlabs.com/sci-fi center/tip. It is pinned to the top of the chat. And I will answer your question when you put it in there, because just like I did Larry, that was Larry sent a super chat a couple of weeks ago, and I just
drugs are bad. Okay, yes, they are bad.
Where did that come from?
Yeah,
we knew that. Was that inspired by something in the chat?
It might have been like he forgot it was on, and maybe he's like, "Oh, did you take like a?"
Oh, did you do a bowl today, man?
She had like a giant dose of Dayquil and sleep through it or something.
Oh, what? Hey, you know what I'm seeing lately? There was a burlesque performer that lives in Vegas or performed here a lot in Vegas. Just passed away, and apparently it was fentanyl overdose. But I'm like, there's another buddy that I knew. A guy used to work for me a couple of years ago who passed away. All this, what's going on with this fentanyl with the marijuana, or is it what's going on? I thought marijuana was supposed to be the safe one.
It is.
Are people mixing it, or are people handling fentanyl and then selling weed too, and it's getting it? I'm like, I'm starting to hear about it a lot more. I knew it was dangerous. I knew it was out there, but I didn't know anybody in my circles that was in any that I thought was in any danger. Now I know of two people, like literally in the last.
Okay. He's saying I must not. Maybe that's probably what it's a South Park joke. Yeah, I'm not super avid on South Park, so that's probably an inside joke.
I saw the movie and that was it.
By the way, of course, our buddy Thade dropping in, saying hi. How's it going, Thade?
All right, Thade, what's going on? I posted it on my Instagram and on my Twitter. One of the burlesque performers, because I do a burlesque show, so I'm in these groups, and I'm like, he's 45 years old, man.
Brad's Bane is so great. It brightens my days and nights. Cannot be banned. Well, you hear that, William?
You
hear that? Do you accept this man's endorsement of my Bane impression?
I can mute you there. Look at that. How about that? Okay, let me hear it again. Do it again. Okay, there you go. No, I do not accept it.
You'll just have to imagine my Bane voice.
There we go. Yeah, this mute button is the coolest thing on here tonight. Jackass.
Okay. Let's see. So Clint was. Oh, that maybe this is what this came from. Tomorrow, we're getting prescription weed. Okay. Oh, so you're getting like prescription.
Medical cannabis. Yeah, man. Make sure they're not handling the fentanyl. What the fuck, man? Because I don't know a lot about the weed culture and all that stuff, and I don't.
Neither do I.
But I'm hearing that there's certain drugs going around that are like not intended to have it in it, but it's getting laced with it. Is that somebody in the chat for me? And if you're a recreational weed person, I mean, not everybody buys this from the dispensaries, I guess, but damn, you can't even smoke weed without worrying about dying. I thought that was one you always be safe with. But yeah, I got to do some research on that because, like I said, two people recently that I know of, and one I know personally. I'm like, what? Damn, sucks.
Okay, let's see. Who else we got in the chat tonight? Rashos says William. Apparently, John Cena may have known about the Vince McMahon stuff and did nothing. If it comes out to be true, will hurt his career reputation.
No. You have to understand. What was he gonna do? What was he gonna do? He would have gotten himself in a. As awful as this Vince McMahon stuff was, he would have been violating the NDA as an employee of WWE. He would have been violating his boss's NDA, and there are legalities there that John Cena would. None of these people who know him, and people were asking me the other day, well, Triple H had to know, why did Triple H vote him back onto the board when he wanted to come back? Here's why. In order for the merger with TKO to take place, Vince McMahon demanded that he be brought back on, and be part of it. He owned the majority. He owned a significant amount of shares. You could not have had the merger with the UFC and TKO without his shares. So he had to vote to get him back in, or else you didn't have the merger. And the merger is ultimately what led to him going away. Because if Vince had been in control when this came out, Vince would have still been there because he would have been at the top and he would have been part of the control group. And he would have been able to just basically keep himself on. But because of the merger and because you had TKO and Ari Emanuel basically told him, you have to get the fuck out and stay out. He had to go. He had to resign. So there was a lot of people that knew about it, knowing about something and doing, because like I said, there's a lot of legalities into it. Okay, so John Cena goes ahead and anybody says, well, I know about all this. And I'm like, well, technically, you're screwing around with somebody's legal situation. I guess there's a lot of legal intricacies in there. And two, what was he going to be able to do? I mean, at that point, Vince and then remember a lot of these allegations. Some of them are more recent, but the whole body of work of his allegation and his sleaziness goes beyond. Let's take 2018, 2019. Now, what was happening from 2001 to 2019? You had no other major wrestling company. So you had the guy with all the power who could literally end your career and keep you from making any money, put you in the poorhouse and nowhere to go. So I think one of the byproducts of AEW being around is that, people can leave and on their way out, they can say something, but you literally, what were they going to do? And I know it, and it sounds heroic for somebody to say, well, you should have done this and you should have done that. And you should have stood on the soapbox to anything. You're putting their livelihoods. I mean, that may have been the right thing to do, but put yourself in a position of that man controlling your livelihood, and there's nowhere else to go for the most part. So,
and not only that, but also, I mean, of course, if you don't, a situation like that, when somebody has that kind of power, that kind of leverage, you don't have a smoking gun. Like 20 people willing to. Like Weinstein's a good example. I mean, Harvey Weinstein was brought down because he had, so many people, willing to go on the record saying that this is what, this is the truth about this guy. That's finally what broke the dam on Harvey Weinstein. Same with Bill Cosby. So, you really.
And guess what? Bill Cosby is not in prison.
Yeah,
yeah. You may as well wipe Bill Cosby's conviction off. Bill Cosby technically is a free man. So with everything Bill Cosby may or may not have done, just to let you know just how hard it is to wrangle something like this down, Bill Cosby is not in prison. Technically, Bill Cosby can sue them on the technicality and walk away with money, but he's probably going to just stay away from it and just grow old. But Harvey Weinstein was at it for almost 30 years before he got caught. Vince McMahon, all these people, it's easier said than done. I understand the question, Russell, and just from a layman point of view, you figure, how did this go on? My first question I asked, how did this go on? And then you realize that
when you have someone with that kind of power, and it's like, and there's the the fear of reprisals that's that factors into it. It's it's tough. It's tough to be like if I'm going to have to stand alone on this, it's like how are you going to do? It's a lot easier when there's the whole saying, strength in numbers. And again, that's what ultimately brought down Harvey Weinstein. That's what got Bill Cosby, his subsequent release notwithstanding. But yeah.
And here's another thing. Another thing is, okay, so what if any of these guys said anything? If he would have kept paying her on the money that they settled, she wouldn't have been able to back up whoever came out about it, because she had signed a non-disclosure agreement. It's because he didn't pay her. He only paid her the one of the $3 million she was owed. It allowed her to breach the NDA. But if the NDA had been kept, anybody would say, "Oh, hey, you know what? I heard he's doing this, and that one." But you would not have been able to substantiate the rumors because the subject was under an NDA. So Vince fucked up by not paying. Dude, you got hundreds of millions of dollars. You couldn't drop another $2 to keep your ass out of the fire for a little bit longer? I mean, I don't know. I understand that. But yeah, that's I don't think it'll hurt his career reputation, because just like I don't think it's going to hurt Triple H. Triple H didn't answer any. He did look bad last night with the press conference, not touching it at all. It's a huge story, but it sucks because we're watching WrestleMania and the subject coming in was about Vince and his activities, and that sucks because Triple H is working hard to turn the company in a different direction, and he has the shadow of one of the most powerful people in wrestling hanging on, the guy who basically put his father-in-law. By the way, his father-in-law, the grandfather to his children, his wife's father. It's a tough, ugly situation, man. I don't have any right answer about it, but the right answer is that Vince McMahon is gone from wrestling. That's the right answer.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of our thoughts on it. So, but yeah, it is important, when you when you see these powerful guys brought down for allegations like this, that and talking about like who knew what and when. I mean, that's important to bear in mind. Is the genuine risk of reprisal that a lot of people face unless they have like a significant amount of people, and hard evidence backing them, and that's just not always that's not always easy to to mount that. If John Cena, and it's like if John Cena, if he had like given like a comment in an interview, or like he'd gone on social media and say, "Yeah, Vince McMahon is doing all this," I mean, he could have opened himself up for some serious legal trouble just doing that, just on his own.
And what would have happened is Vince would have said, "Prove it."
Yeah, exactly. Like,
he would not have been able to bring any evidence because it would have been sealed. So yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah. John Cena, and he's actually, I mean, you look at a lot of stuff he's done outside of pro wrestling. He seems like a really good dude. I mean, he's paid visits to like sick kids, and
he does make a wish and all kinds of stuff. Like I said, all of them are good people that were just put in a shitty situation by a scumbag.
Yeah. Yep. But again, he's not in that position anymore, and that's the most important thing of that all.
That literally happened last night because Slim Jim was like, we're taking our money. And Slim Jim has been a major, major sponsor of WWE since I was a kid. Slim Jim, Macho Man, they have been with WWE since the 90s when, like I said, a lot of when the Attitude Era was sleazy and turning people off, and wrestling, viewership on TV was dropping because, WWE was putting out a product that wasn't a broadly accepted product because what was their fans loved it. So they stuck with them through all of that stuff, and then, like I said, they just said, no, we cannot have our beef jerky associated with this. It's just, and then when he resigned, bam, that's why it was TKO and Ari Emanuel that did not give him a choice. This wasn't him Vince McMahon sitting in the room saying, you know what, I think I'll do the right thing. Nah, this was Ari Emanuel calling him up saying, get out, you're done.
It's the Terminator, like the T-1000, like getting into the helicopter saying get out, and you do it.
Yeah, it's it. It's over with. They let him make his statement and all that other shit and make his denial, but they had to get him out of there, and they did the right thing. And like I said, as soon as they were done, Slim Jim was back in because I was watching it. I'm like, wait, and I saw a Slim Jim commercial. I'm like, wait a minute, didn't these fools back out? And then I looked at it, and then I read the thing, and I was like, yep, for sure. Because like I said, when you never want to have this kind of stuff when you have a major event like that. You want the topic to be about the event. And like I said, Royal Rumble, we covered both, but I covered the Royal Rumble in detail, for what it was. I had fun with some of it. Some of it was a waste of time, but the women carried the night. Like I said, on a night where women are being subjected to events, the women carried the night for the company he no longer is a part of. But like I said, the good thing about it is we're completely done with Vince McMahon and wrestling. That's it. It's over.
Yeah. Door Knight has is the Vince State's going to come out like the pages in? But I sure as hell hope they're not going to.
Here's the thing, though.
Because I don't know if I want to watch it.
Xavier and Paige, that was just that was crazy, and it got everywhere. And she almost committed suicide over that because it was just so out there with invasion of privacy. It was but here's the thing about the thing of Xavier Woods and the sex tape that they made. That was all a bunch of consensual adults.
Exactly.
If there's tapes that get out about him,
that's like a snuff film they released.
Please don't. Please, if there are films of him doing the scat, they need to be deleted off the internet. But this is just one lady. The one lady who filed a lawsuit. That's just one lady. When it ended up happening with Weinstein and anybody else that's like it has a predatory nature about them. This is going to embolden other women to come up, and they're probably going to have text messages. They're probably going to have evidence. They're probably going to have emails, and they're probably going to be under NDAs. But I think if there's ever a criminal case involved, I don't think the NDAs the lawyer, the DA or whatever could subpoena that. I don't know how that will work illegally, but if he hasn't paid off, if there's somebody out there that he's breached another NDA with, they can just come forward with this stuff. I don't think you've heard the last of this. I think this is just the beginning, unfortunately, because people like this just don't start doing shit like this. He's been doing this for decades, and people like this don't do it with just a limited amount of people because they're emboldened. He's Vince McMahon. He's the top of the chain. He's got billions. He hangs with billionaires. He can control and end your career, especially like I said during that window where it was just WWE and there was nowhere for you to go. So he could take advantage of you. You know what? He could take advantage. Where are you going to go? There was no AEW. You're going to go over to Japan and wrestle for a quarter of the money at that time. You're going to go to TNA at the time, which was like half your pay and let half you not on a consistent channel. If you wanted to keep your status and pay the bills and support the lifestyle that you had gained, you had to play ball with them, and not just with this, with anything that was going on in WWE that you may or may not agree with. Or you couldn't say anything, any of that stuff, because like I said, then you get taken off of TV, you get taken off the roster, and there's nowhere for you to go. You're going to drive around in your Yugo going to indies. That doesn't pay the bills, especially if you're at that level. Even if you could make money doing it, you're not making the level that you raised your kids and bought your house and done your mortgage on it. You're not doing all that. So there was a lot of people that Vince probably kept down that way.
Yeah, Spider-Man has one comment here. NDAs don't cover illegal activities such as rape or sex trafficking.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So if there's this, I really do think, and it's going to get nastier. It's going to get more disgusting. But like I said, women, when these things happen, there's some other woman or women just sitting in their couch right now, who has been terrified to have to stand alone with all this, now can stand with this person. And now you start getting a pattern of corroboration, and then it's who knows?
Yes. And again, that's exactly what we saw with with Cosby and Weinstein. I like and even in situations like that, I mean, they don't all the victims, don't all the accusers, everybody, they don't all necessarily come forward even in that situation when you have that kind of support. I mean, I've seen a couple interviews with Michael Jai White where he said he personally knows like 3 or 4 women with Cosby stories that never came forward. So even in an event where you have that snowball effect, it still doesn't necessarily like bring everything to light.
Plus, you have time and statute of limitation. I mean, all kinds of stuff, because some of the stuff that Cosby was accused of, they missed the statute of limitations on some of this stuff. Unless it's murder, you do have a statute of limitations. It's like I said, Cosby got off on a technicality.
Yeah, the whole thing was about, it's like when they did the deposition that pretty much got him convicted. Yeah, and the technicality was, well, you guys said if I if I confess to anything during this, it's not going to be used against me. And so you're reneging on that, which is that's still bullshit.
Well, it's a proper agreement, is what it was, and
Yeah.
they basically blew up their own case, and then the rest of the cases were just, he could have won a lot of that stuff on appeal anyway, simply because of the fact that it was so long ago. Vince is doing shit like recently though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
The ones in the ones that were done in like the 80s and stuff like that, you could probably blur those lines because it's a long time, a lot of witnesses. But the stuff that he's doing like now, I mean, the stuff that Weinstein was a sleazeball up until now, up until the day they locked him up. Coming out, and it's always the same pattern, coming out in their underwear when they're inviting somebody to a business meeting. I'm like, what the stuff? Like I said, it's like that, but they know who they are. Weinstein was arguably the most powerful guy in Hollywood at that time, and Vince McMahon was legit the most powerful person in pro wrestling. So
well, good Vince says, I hate when y'all talk about McMahon. Like, I'm confused because we're referred to just as Vince.
Oh, McMahon, yeah.
No, we're cool with you, Vince.
Yeah, no, okay, yeah, Vince, damn it, Vince. Yeah,
Larry, you refer to him as McVince. Okay.
I'm just scumbag.
Or yeah, we can give like terms of endearment like scumbag or dickhead or asshole, or if he wants to, he prefer to help the distinction.
And like I said, he made a reputation off that. He capitalized on his being.
Cena has the world record. Yeah, Cena, he's a legit good dude. He does a lot of outside of his work in movies and his work in pro wrestling. It's like he's a very generous, very giving, very very kind person. So it's like John Cena's like I got thumbs up for John Cena.
And that's if he even knew about it. It's like you never know who and what knew where and what. And like I said, to some of the decisions that they made, or you may think like, how could you do that? But you have to look at the entire dynamic of the thing. The only way you were able to ever get rid of it, because as soon as TKO merged with UFC, merged them with the UFC and did all that stuff, Vince was gone. And I even said that a while back when people were asking me, what do you think, Vince will be around? No, I'm like, as soon as they get a chance to vote, this new company, the stockholders vote, Vince was gone. And Vince was gone because he already had allegations coming into this. These allegations are already out there. His wife left. There's all kinds of stuff that was starting to come out about him. And TKO was like, but they had to deal with him because without his shares, you could not have had the merger. Now that the merger's happened, TKO said, just get out. I mean, get the fuck out and stay out. And he needs to go away and disappear, until his court cases.
But let's see. Vince, good Vince says, I was kind of wondering if I can help run off-schedule watch parties for the center. Been back to looking for work because Walmart was too far and was costing me money, so I work for whatever. Oh, sorry to hear that, Vince. Sorry to hear that for you, Vince. So it's like,
you're looking for.
Yeah, because he said he was like receiving at Walmart, but it was too far and it just wasn't working out. So I'm sorry to hear that, man. Hope you find something to take the place that pretty soon.
Yeah, I'll message you. I got some things in that are national things that you might be able to get into. But yeah, sure, yeah, I'll definitely have you on there because, like I said, I'm going to be really busy in these next couple of weeks, but I still want the schedule to be kept up. So. Sure.
Larry says Macho Man was awesome. Yes, he was.
Yeah, Macho Man was great.
How's it going, Droga? Meow. I don't know what the meow is about, but thank you. And where are we? Rhea, how's it going, Rhea?
Hello, Rhea.
Well, like I said, also, how was let us know how your trip was, because it looked like that was definitely a blast. You're having again. I lived in Hawaii for 3 years, so it's like that brought back a lot of memories for me. I haven't been back though since we left. It's been a long time. So it's kind of living vicariously through your social media posts about it.
Like that fire too.
How's it going, Bradley? Yeah, Vince clarifies. I know the difference. I'm just being funny. Okay.
Yeah, veteran. That's just something. You're trying to admit something right now.
And he's also adding to it. But like I was saying, I'd love to run some of my own watch parties, but use the center as a front, especially when bored staying at home, if that's possible.
It's the center as a front. It's like we're selling drugs. But yeah, we'll get together with me offline, Vince. We'll do it.
Does he live in Vegas too?
No, but we can. He can message me.
Okay. Antonio Baker says The Rock got his daughter playing NXT
Yeah, I saw that. I don't watch NXT.
in
Yeah, I heard about that.
and Fun dropped a good one. I forgot to bring this up. Yeah, she just give the W. I mean, his position now. It's like, I mean, he's definitely up there.
Yeah, he's part of the board. Poor Rock. I mean, he's getting his thing launched, and then it's a big week for him. And the day,
Yeah, and this happens. Yeah,
so many people.
yeah. It's like Black Adam. All over again on the pro wrestling. It's like he is like launching something, and then some controversy overshadows it. I still feel, because I liked the movie and I liked what was setting up. It's like, God, that still hurts thinking back on that.
Well, the movie made what it was going to make.
Well, but you said it's like the people, the distributor and you were talking to WB. It's like you said, it's like they were pretty high on it. They were, as far as like what was going to progress after that with all that.
Had he not had that meeting with James Gunn, like what, a week or so later, then it would have gone on. It was that meeting with James Gunn. It was that sales switch, for the job nobody wanted. And then he basically decided he was going to go all in with Gunn, which I thought was a mistake. I didn't mind him hiring him, but to just basically say, here, everything is yours now, and walk away from everything, really left everybody, including him, in a lurch. And it was just not a good plan. Poor execution, like I said. One thing to have your plan can be fine, but if you poorly execute it, then you have nothing. You have nothing. They did not have a game plan to deal with anything leading into what James Gunn was going to inherit, and like I said, that hurt The Rock, but it hurt them too. Like I said, and it makes it to where I just pretty much stay away from it.
Yeah, the movie was fine. The Rock and DC or Center so final play. Yeah, well, and I still want to see that Black Adam and Superman fight. And people have suggested, a lot of people suggested that one thing that would be cool would be like seeing like Black Adam and Superman going at it like in the nightmare. Like imagine like the jail like calls up, well, Black Adam survived and like we need help with Superman, so here you go.
That could be something.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. And then something Zach, if you're watching, if you want to incorporate that into the whiteboard, the version we haven't seen, feel free.
I've already established that he's not watching my show. But
yeah. Oh, my trip was amazing. I went snorkeling around sea turtles. I stayed in Waikiki. Yeah, I've been there plenty of times myself. But again, it's been like 26 years since I was last in Hawaii, because I was a little kid. We were there from 93 and 96. But yeah, it was but I've been like, what else what are the landmarks? Can I? I've been to the USS Arizona Memorial. Actually, my dad got his promotion to first sergeant on the USS Arizona Memorial, in Pearl Harbor. So yeah, Hawaii was I got a lot of memories there. See, Antonio Larry, he was trying to replace Darkseid with Black Adam. I'm good. That's. I don't think I understand this last part, Larry. So are you saying I'm good on him? I don't think he was trying to replace Darkseid. I think he was just trying to he's just trying to set up a very grandiose Black Adam and Superman conflict. I don't think he was trying to swap and you could do that anyway. I mean, it's like Darkseid is Darkseid. It's like you however much there are certain characters in both Marvel and DC where it's their role is just set in stone as far as the pantheon of villains. It's like even if you want to try to swap Darkseid for Black Adam, it's just not going to work functionally. It just wouldn't. So I don't see him even being his mindset. It's just he's just trying to set up his he's talking about the hierarchy has changed. Well, it's not a matter of Black Adam has taken over where Darkseid is at. It's just a matter of Black Adam is he's higher up on the hierarchy now. Yeah, Bradley says, I've always wanted to go to Hawaii, but flying over the ocean is hell no. I mean, I did it there and back. So I think that was actually my first. I think that was actually the first time I was on a plane was because we were living in Arizona when we moved out there. So that was, I think, the first time getting on a plane was when we moved to Hawaii.
I've flown over water many, many, many times.
Let's see. Blame W. Brad. What's W for, man? I mean, you just blame me without having to include anything extra.
I guess the W is me. Who knows? Next one.
Larry says, "Oh, yeah, I don't blame him." It's again, it's like what is there to blame him for in that situation? I mean, you had an administration, at WB handling DC that was completely rudderless, that didn't know what they were doing. They didn't have any vision. They were just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what would stick. It's like they were actively thumbing their nose at their own clientele as a business. So it's like, what is there to blame him for yeah, I just don't get that. How's it going, Aaron?
Nazi.
I just meant if it was the actual dirt house meant to be rock, would have been just fine. Yeah, I agree. I think, again, that's I think that'd be awesome. I still want to see that. I can barely handle the hour flight to Sacramento to visit family. I hate flying. I hate flying. Sometimes I've always been okay. It's like the takeoff is always like anytime I've been on a plane.
Well, the plane ride itself is okay with me. It's the hassle that's important to you.
Yeah, it's the takeoff. It's like you just got to get over that hump.
In and just getting up early. I just don't like the prep.
Yeah. Brad, do you go to conventions the East Coast? Because I do go to conventions, yeah. And well, actually, there's one I go to every year in December. I've been doing since 2014. But actually, the venue they use, apparently, like the costs were getting higher than they liked, post pandemic, and they just weren't able to make it happen this year. So it ended up getting canceled this year, which kind of bummed me out. But hopefully for this holiday season. And I do go to cons. I like going to cons in a lot of ways, and it's outside of just like the surface level, everything about it. But it's also, it's like I like going to cons and chatting with other geeks there, because I like reminding myself that the tenor of the conversation about these kinds of things is not what it's like on social media.
Yeah, cons are good. Like I said, I went to San Diego and it propelled me through the rest of the year, because you're surrounded by your people. It's the same thing when I go to wrestling events. It's like it's good to be surrounded by your people when it comes to this stuff. To get connected back to
well, and because I've had I've had debates with people over like BVS or over over Snyderverse stuff or over all manner of different things. And it's like it never gets as heated. It's always very cordial when it's in the face-to-face kind of conversation interaction compared to what kind of happens on social media, because it's just total blood sport. When you remove that direct connection, it's just
because you don't have to have any respect. You can be a pussy and go up against somebody on the web, but we never say that to them in person for the most part. And when you're one-on-one with people having conversations, it's just a different you conduct yourself. You feel like you have to conduct yourself a lot better in person than you do online. Online is just no connection. So
Spider-Man says, see Larry's comment that he blames WBS. I blame it. WB. Okay. Well, I still feel like I'm getting blamed there, so I'm just kidding. I'm definitely considering going to Comic-Con San Diego this year, Saturday and Sunday. Well, like you said, like watch out for the Jimmy cosplays this year with the antlers, because it's like, again, Rebel Moon was like that'll be after Scargiver. That'll be probably
one where he actually has antlers on.
So. And that'll probably be after when the director's cut of Child of Fire is released. So
it's July. It's late July.
So and it's so Rebel Moon is so tailor made for cosplay. So you're gonna definitely see a lot of Rebel Moon cosplayers there.
Barbie.
Oh yeah, was there any Barbie? This
very little, because Comic-Con came out right as Barbie came out. It came out
that's good. That's going to change.
Comic-Con weekend of Barbie. So
this Comic-Con, there's going to be a lot more pink. I have no doubt, and not just San Diego, but like cons in general. Brothers, I love Takeoff weirdly, but the rest I don't like. Yeah. See, Takeoff is for me. That's again, it's like getting over the Takeoff hump. Once you're like cruising out, it's like it's like that. And landing again, I don't really have a problem with landing either. But it's just
I sleep through both of that mainly, and then I wake up in the middle of the flight. Like if we're on a long taxi, I'll be going to sleep, and then I'll wake up when we're in flight, and then I'll wake up after the plane landed. I've never had any fear when it comes to plane, because I've grown up on them. I've grown up flying, and I've like when you fly overseas, when you go to combat, it's like a 12,000 mile flight. You know, 22 hours on the plane. Some of the planes aren't the most comfortable planes, sleeping in cargo netting. So you just tend to rest. I mean, it's the safest mode of travel. So I just like go to sleep. I'm like the likelihood of this plane going down is not high. So you know I'll wake me up when we get there type of situation.
Let's see. Dorrit Nice says, remember at DC Fandom when Jim Lee, and Walter Hamada act like they were going to reveal their plans for DCU and the cameras pull out. There was no plan. They just whispered bullshit. Well, I mean, I put that way more on Hamada than I do. I mean, Jim Lee is
There was
like
no plan. There was no plan there. No.
exactly, and they actively went out of their way to undermine one of the movies that was one of the main ones marketed that year. So it's like, I mean, that just showed. I mean, I don't know any other way to describe that that attitude other than unprofessional. I mean. Let's see what Rhea said. Oh, here's a good one, Rhea. Oh my God, Brad, a great cosplay for you would be John Wick if you haven't done it already. I have not done John Wick already. I might try that now because I just have to grow my beard out. My hair is long enough. I just wear a suit and tie and have a sidearm. I have to. I mean, not freak people out. I mean, maybe think I have a real gun or anything. Maybe I should use the nunchucks instead.
She's a Nerf gun.
Yeah, she's a Nerf gun with like little Nerf bullets. But yeah. And I don't know who else. I'd want to have like. I mean, ideally, it's like you have like the whole ensemble there. So it would have like I'd have somebody for Kane. Somebody is like Donnie Yen's Kane, and then Scott Adkins Killer Harkon, and you had like a whole collection of John Wick characters. That'd be pretty awesome. Yeah, I haven't cosplayed as John Wick. Yeah, yes, I might. And the thing about it is too, it's like Keanu, like his beard is so distinctly kind of cropped. It's like it's kind of unmistakable. So it's like if you might shave it a certain way, I probably be pretty recognizable. So yeah, I might try that now. Thank you for that suggestion, Rhea. Let's see. Droga says, I am drawing Nick Cage's Superman. Well, that's William's favorite by far.
Favorite Superman that never happened for a good reason.
Like I said, we got 20 seconds of him in the Flash.
That was 19 seconds too many.
What by the way, what are your thoughts on because he's given some interviews recently where he talked about like I filmed was watching the universe collapse, and then I see the movie and it's got the part with fight. I think people are kind of misinterpreting that because it does show him like turning to the open portal and it
shows them all doing it. All of them do. All of them are living their lives, and they all turn towards it because it was collapsing, which was
So it sounds like what he filmed was incorporated, just like what was tacked on was the battle with the giant spider. So I think people are maybe kind of misinterpreting what he's saying a little bit.
Well, it's like I said, we're talking about a movie that would have been like a death knell if it was released. So
anybody who's not heard yet is William is not a fan of what Superman Lives is going to be.
What it looked like shit. I'm sorry, it looks horrible.
Spidey, yeah, I've been to a few comic a couple times. PAX Unplugged, too many games, Anime Expo, a lot of independent geek and fan merch ones, toy shows. I love it. Smaller shows, yeah. And like I said, it's like a lot. Half the fun of it and half of I think the utility of going to a con on a personal level for somebody is the direct interaction with other, people in different in your fandom or whatever other fandom, how just rub it up against each other at them because it's
cathartic is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a nice way to remind ourselves. It's like these pissing contests we get into on social media that get so heated over DC, Zack Snyder, Marvel, Star Wars, whatever. It's like, you when you put people in the room face to face, it's the temperature, the equilibrium gets a lot more level.
Well, what happens is online, it's a lot easier for anything that you pursue and anything that you get yourself involved in to become your identity, which is okay. It's okay for things to become part of your identity, but when you do it online and there's no personal interaction, it gets out of control. When it's become part of your identity and you're actually getting out into society, that's a lot more layered and a lot better than just sitting on a computer where you can control everything that comes and goes. It's not a good way.
Yeah. Larry's got going for me. Brad, who have you cosplayed as before? I have cosplayed. What have I done? I've cosplayed as actually both the Heath Ledger and the Jared Leto Jokers. And specifically the Nightmare Joker. Because I just I had a lot of fun with the makeup of both those. I've been both Jokers for both Halloweens. I've been to cons like that, but usually going to cons, I don't cosplay. I just get my badge and just walk in. But so cosplay is kind of more of a Halloween thing for me. But I think I may take up Ray's suggestion now as John Wick, because I could pull that off with fairly easily and with without much expense to it. It's just beard, suit, tie, Nerf gun.
Yeah, I enjoy watching cosplayers, and but I don't like doing it myself. Because usually wherever I'm at, I'm involved in something, and it's too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. If you're like a vendor, I usually see vendors cosplaying.
And just moving to a con was just like I said, you need to work out.
Oh, and by the way, I don't know because this was from because one of probably the best one I ever went to was Tampa Comic Con. I think I mentioned that on here before. Yeah. My buddy Mike and we went down there. We were both just out of college at the time, and that was a graduation gift for my folks actually. You gave me the money to go do that, so we went to Tampa, and a part of it was also motivated. There was a girl I went to high school with, and we reconnected through Facebook that year. So we wanted to meet up. So we took a trip. We were down there for like 5 days, and met her. That was a lot of fun. But also the con was thought we got to. He's really into Dragon Ball, so he got to. Who was it? Chris Sabat, I think, is voice of Goku. He got to meet. Me being the Avatar guy, I got to meet Janet Varney, get her autograph, get her picture. And then I ended up actually interviewing her a couple of years later. We also Jenna Malone, because this is 2015, so this is like in the lead up to BBS. So we got to attend her panel. That was a lot of fun. But also, again, the cosplay. This is the biggest con I'd ever been to. It was attendance about 50,000. Now San Diego, that gets the biggest. That's like 170,000 at this point. I mean, it is packed like you can't believe. And you can say that without having even been there. I mean, William, you can speak that more than I can.
Very packed, even in the strike year was packed.
Yeah, but we the cosplayers I saw there, people went all out for it. I mean, what some people will do, and this is without even Liz Wonder being there for it, because she could get everybody a run for their money in the cosplay realm. But what do we see? We saw within 5 minutes. I mean, we saw probably 50 Jokers and Harley Quinns.
Yeah,
we saw. There was this one guy we kept bumping into. He was Daredevil, but he was like different side. So one day he was Matt Murdock, and the next day he was Daredevil in the black suit, in the ninja suit, and then the third day he was in the red suit with the horns. So, and he actually was on a couple of panels. So he was fun. We took a couple of pictures of them, but there was this one. I don't know. Can I bring this up? Because this isn't like from a panel or anything. I don't even know who this guy is anymore, but it was just another cosplayer we ran into. But this is probably my favorite cosplay I've ever seen. Let me see if I got the photo here. My desktop. I don't. Okay. Let me check my desktop real quick if I have it here. Okay. I don't have it, but this guy and his buddy. The first day we saw them, they were cosplaying as a couple of Cobra Kai students, and this is before Cobra Kai the show started. This is like 3 years beforehand. So they were Cobra Kai guys, but then we bumped into him later on, and he was this dude. He was cosplaying as Jim Carrey from Liar Liar when he has the pen and he's fighting with the pen about whether it's red or blue or not, and so he's got the word blue written all over his face, and he's got the suit and tie on, and he said, "We got a good laugh at that." And we got his picture. He said, "I was the first guy who realized what he was cosplaying as." So that was pretty funny.
I took tons of pictures. I mean, we went through it. No, you weren't with us yet when I went to San Diego, but I took a lot of pictures. Whenever I go these days, I take a ton. I took a lot of cosplay pictures, so hopefully that I get in this year, and like I said, I don't know about going all 4 days, but I might. If I go into Choma, I would probably I'd probably end up going all 4 days. I might even go on preview night.
Yeah, Brad, you can also cosplay as Sokka. I mean, didn't they already? I mean, The Last Airbender kind of, made the point. Is like, this is why you shouldn't have white dudes, playing, Asian characters. So I don't know if I should do that. I actually interviewed Jackson Rathbone too a while back. He was Sokka in the Last Airbender movie, and he was good. It's like, I don't hold that against him. He's an actor who got a job, so it's like, of course you jump at it, but I don't know. Could I pull off Sokka? I just wouldn't want to. I wouldn't. I don't think I'd want to do that.
Thank you, Larry. Corcorettes has tipped $10. This is $10 for Brad for my tenant re-review. I'll DM my clues. Okay, so you're gonna get a DM from Larry. Thank you, Larry, for the support.
Okay. I guess I'll check that in a minute, Larry. But yeah, Saka out of a. Yeah, I don't know. I think I might sit that one out. Fortunately, I mean, we're definitely going to see a lot more Avatar cosplayers now. The Netflix show is coming out. I ran into a few there too when we were at Tampa. I could talk about the experience we had. That was one of the best weekends of my life when I went to Tampa Comic Con. So I could talk about that for a long time.
Yeah, these events stay with you after you go to them.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, this is another cosplay joke. Because again, talking about like you cosplaying, whether or not one should of characters of different races, and we my friend Ashley and I, we were talking a while back about if one of a white man tried to cosplay as Blade, and she made the joke. It was like semi-serious. It's like a joke, but it's also a serious point. She said, "Well, if you try to cosplay as if you're white, and you try to cosplay as Blade, you're just gonna end up looking like Neo. So just be Neo." It's like, yeah, that is true.
Yeah, because Blade is black. I mean, and he's part of his being recognizable is that he's black.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not necessarily his necessarily being accorded his character, depending on what kind of origin you put on him. But because he's always been black, it's like literally that's associated with him. That's so you could play a vampire hunter, but you might as well just name it a different name, get it Hannibal, like they did.
Maybe I'll be Hugh Jackman as Van Helsing. But, Reyes says Brad technically Keanu was Asian indigenous. We'll give you a pass for John Wick. Okay. Well, he's got like Chinese and Hawaiian and English ancestry. So
but he had Alaskan too. So.
Yeah, I need to look that up.
The first name, yeah.
Oh, Aaron is. I can't wait for. Oh yeah, I have no doubt there's going to be tons of this.
That shit's going to be expensive too.
Oh yeah. Oh, and listen, if you've never been to a con, like people will go all out. People will pour resources into, what their cosplay, what it's going to be. Like we saw when we were at Tampa, we saw a Groot there from Guardians of the Galaxy, and this was. It was made out of like foam rubber and latex, so it was so good. I mean, it's like and it really was like, and this is the closest you could replicate to what it looked like in the movie. I mean, this was fantastic, and again, it probably cost the guy a pretty penny.
Oh yeah. Plus, a lot of these guys have sponsors too. A lot of these guys and gals have sponsors. People that sponsor their cosplays, so that's kind of cool too.
Yeah. Who else? Aaron says it's over 9,000. Yeah, I'm not a Dragon Ball expert, but I do know I am familiar with that line. Let's see who else. Correct me, Chris Sabatas. Okay, thank you for that Spider-Man because I knew my friend Mike got his autograph, but I wasn't sure who he voices on Dragon Ball. He voices Vegeta. Larry says, I agree. DC Bando every year keep fans excited and informed. Yeah, they just got to build up, they got to build up a relationship with their fans again that's not adversarial, and it's just hard to do that now these last few years.
I'd like to see them do another fandom now that we have a DC studio. So who knows?
Yeah. The Dort Knight also says, "Yeah, I wish they would bring back DC Bando." Oh, again, the second one was a little bit lackluster, but the first one was just that was
a lot of fun.
The first, you felt like, and this was when the pandemic was still at its peak, and we weren't having like in-person cons, so that was why they something they had to do that entirely online, and a lot of the stuff they showcased there, they're showing concept art because they couldn't get started working on it, so they just had to say, okay, here's what we're working on. But you felt like you had been to like a DC centric equivalent to San Diego Comic-Con. It's just phenomenal.
I still think they should do something like that, not necessarily to that scale on a weekly basis, and that covers DC in general. But obviously the studio is part of it. But I still think that waiting around for Superman Legacy to come out before we start hyping these things is just like leaving money on the table. But it's their money. Let them leave it.
Okay, Larry says cosplay is beyond race and gender. It's all about okay. So you guys are kind of encouraging me, I guess, for Sokka here. But that would, it's like it would have to Okay, I got to get the whole kind of the Eskimo.
Cosplay, when you have the right people involved in it, is a very inviting world because people from all shapes and sizes can do it, and it's basically it's an accepting community. So yeah, it's cosplay is one of those things where, like I said, I've seen people that have been, they're obviously not of the ethnic group of the character. And like I said, you could do a white blade, but just that's what you are. Then you're a blade, but you're white. I mean, that's you're doing the costume, and a lot of people are going to judge you on the teeth, the makeup, the glasses, the leather. So,
again, like she said, it's like you would just end up looking like Neo too. So.
Yeah. But
actually, I could do a pretty good Neo now too. I think like Matrix Resurrections Neo with the longer hair and the beard. I know
John Wick. That's John Wick. That's
exactly, yeah. So, but he'd have the sunglasses on and the kind of like the trench coat. So, but I probably would drift a little bit more towards John Wick.
Well, a successful Keanu Reeves, not bomb.
Why do you think that? Because I was actually kind of surprised when Resurrections when that. I mean, now you could make the argument that the fact that it came out so close to Spider-Man: No Way Home, No Way Home definitely pulled a lot of air out of the room as far as like
could have been
blockbusters and what was
could have been going back on its own. Could have been released and been the only movie in the theaters, and it would have still bombed. It could have been released without the day and date thing that Keelar did, and would have still bombed. The concept was doomed to begin with. You have to understand what made the Matrix series special to begin with. When we first started the series, it was 1999. Only 25% of America even had a cell phone, if that. And the cell phones we had were
like artifacts from the Stone Age compared to what we have now.
The internet. Most people did not. Only 5% of society had high-speed internet at the time, which is called cable modem, man. And you couldn't do a lot of the stuff that you could do now because not everybody had it. You would have literally a situation where I was the first person in my neighborhood to get cable modem, and it was at you went from 56K and then it was 112 meg and things like that. But the websites in the society at that time, all your buddies could only broadcast at 56K. So you were basically going on the websites that were I had to wait for the websites to propagate because that's how fast we were going. So the majority of the population didn't have that. Technology wasn't where it was. So when Matrix came in and it brought in this technology and it brought in this sense of virtual wonderment, it was new to us in 1999. And that environment was a part of their success. It was a part of their success. You can't replicate that success when everything that the Matrix is now common day. It's common stuff. So the premise just didn't work in 2021. And it was never going to. Once you got beyond the era of the Matrix to where that wonderment was there, the bullet cam and the tech and all that, everything you could imagine in the Matrix is literally in your phone now. A kid has more wherewithal in his phone than the Matrix ever gave him in 3 movies combined. But it was the right movie for the right time. 2021 wasn't the right time. There was never any chance for that movie to be a success. It was dead in the concept phase. And I wish they would have not made that movie because there was, like I said, you're going back to the well and there's no longer a well there. It's pure out plumbing and faucets now. So that's why that movie failed. Yeah, and it was not a surprise. It was not a surprise that it failed.
Yeah, because I admit that it was a surprise to me because I was thinking it would do better than it did. But I mean, I guess those were factors I wasn't really. When
they said they were making it, I'm like, this is going to bomb. When they first
even with the love of Keanu at this point,
once again, it takes more than the star. He has to have The Rock. There's people who are in Tom Cruise, Robert Downey. You can have the star, but if it has, that's part of it. But there has to be something compelling the customer to come out to see that star, and that movie wasn't it. There was nothing Keanu Reeves could do for that movie as far as getting people to go see it. It just the concept alone was a dead ender. You look around 2021 at the time, and there's why you're like, why are you even making this movie? And that's what a lot of customers are like. Why? It was cool back in '99, but this generation, which makes up for a good 30% of your demographic, has grown up with everything you're trying to make cool in the Matrix, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, well, then we see a year and some change later, John Wick 4. Just completely just be the you just completely blow it out of the water. So yeah, there is and it's why I often ask the question: has John Wick overtaken Neo as Keanu's signature character? And I think you can definitely make an argument at this point that he has.
For this generation, yeah. For people who are maybe 35 and under, yeah. But for people maybe 35 and over, no, he'll always be Neo. And some people he'll always be, from Bill and Ted. I mean, it just depends on when you first saw him and what one of his movies was influential at the time when he came out. There are people who are Neo is always going to be Keanu Reeves. He's always going to be a Keanu Reeves. Hugo Weaving is always going to be Mr. Smith. No matter what else he does, it's just that's when the era where they came out at. But people who are of a certain age who have never were not there for the cultural impact of the Matrix will probably think John Wick because that's recency.
And of course, that's had an impact all its own. So, Reyes says they need to move Comic-Con to Vegas or create a new one out there.
Yeah. We have amazing Comic-Con and it's growing. COVID really hurt it, but it's getting back up there. The problem with I live here in the Inferno, that's Vegas, and trust me, I love getting off that plane to 40 degrees cooler than it was, because when we left Vegas it was 114 and I got to San Diego it was 74 degrees. I didn't want to come back, so I understand the weather wise because it's hot as fuck out here in July. But once again, when you're going to have your non-strike year, you're going to have a lot of people who are not going to be able to get in. There's a lot of people. Most people don't go to Comic-Con in general. I mean, but for the people who want to go, a good majority of those people don't get in at all because of the capacity. And then you have it's really expensive. I mean, I was able to work deals and everything else for my setup. But for the most part, if you want to stay close to the event, it's really expensive. They jack up the prices for the hotels. Vegas does that too, but not to the degree because of demand. You have so many hotels rooms here. Our convention center, we did this a couple months ago when I showed you the comparison of San Diego Convention Center to Las Vegas Convention Center. It literally could swallow San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, but, it was huge.
Yeah, you have a lot of political things about it. They'll do everything possible never to lose Comic-Con because the city makes so much money on it. But the problem is it's San Diego. I went to the very first Comic-Con that's in the current venue, because before it was in the Omni downtown. I went to that Comic-Con, and what's happened with the whole the movie stuff and everything else, it's bloated it to where you can only get so many people in, because the one year the fire marshal shut them down. And then the very next year, you had to scan in and scan out. It's it's things like that. So I want it to be in a place where everybody who wants to attend can attend with no problem at all. And right now, San Diego is not it. But I understand why it's going to probably stay there forever. And plus, like I said, for a guy like me, when July, nothing. To get back to my home state and not fry here. I can understand the appeal. But yeah, I'm as business wise, I am a proponent of putting something like that where everybody who wants to be there can be there. And right now, that's not San Diego.
Well, and speaking of that, Larry says certain things in the pandemic should stick. DC fandom, working from home, being more health conscious. Yeah, I agree on all of them. And DC fandom, well, that falls exactly under what you're talking about, William. It's like everybody, because it's an online thing. Everybody who wants to tune in for that can.
Yeah, and plus, like I said, DC needs to improve its image, and the only way you can improve your image is by constantly, getting us in a rhythm of information that we want to hear. When you put people in the rhythm of information and they're having this conversation with you on a weekly basis, they tend not to listen to the bullshit artists. But the only reason why a lot of these scoopers and a lot of these other clown outlets are so successful is because that's the people that's talking right now. But if the people who run the show are talking about the show, even if those people are out there, you're having a better and more genuine conversation, than you would be with them. It's not as contentious. It doesn't really muddy things up. So the fandom should be an annual thing, but like I said, there should be every Wednesday thing that keeps that conversation going. And then, fandom is what it all leads up to.
And imagine like a weekly one where it's like every week it's like, as you get like within 2 months of the big event, like it, building up to, and have like a like a weekly thing where it's like, oh, and now let's look over at the the fandom countdown clock, and it all
fandom or something like that,
Yeah, they were absolutely on the right track there, and it's like just bad management, just with big egos just did their thing, and here we are.
And they weren't capable. They just weren't capable of it. It's not so much the egos, because the egos is like 1 to 3 people. But like I always say, I can't blame someone for not doing something that they're not capable of doing. They don't have that. They're limited in what they could do. You're talking about, you would have needed to understand the impact of it, and those people weren't put there to understand the impact of DC Comics, so they were handicapped. Now I expect more out of James Gunn because he understands the IP. He is a fan. He reads the stuff. He watches the movie. He's part of the movie making thing. He has all the tools to do what those guys could not. As much as I want to hate these guys, once again, I don't hate you for not doing something you were not capable of, ego or not. You just weren't capable of it. Ann Sardoff did not have the tools. Regardless of how we feel about her, she does not have the tools to do that. That's like asking your plumber, to run your nuclear power plant. It's not going to happen. You can't blame the plumber. I blame the fact that this person doesn't have those tools. I need somebody, a nuclear physicist. I need somebody who knows how to run a power plant. That's what happens, and that's the difference between what James Gunn is doing and what they were doing. They were old Hollywood. So James Gunn is too, but he's newer Hollywood than they are. And
Zaslav is definitely old Hollywood.
Zaslav's definitely old, but all these guys, Emmerich, all these guys are old, and they could never exploit the IP. Feige was able to do that. He was a 1 in a million because he came up through the IP. He was a producer for a lot of the stuff that would become the MCU. But so he was equipped to do his job. But at no point in time were Ann Sarnoff, Walter Hamada, any of those guys equipped. Even when you put in Jeff Johns, you can hate Jeff Johns all you want to, but somebody above him put him in a position that he was not qualified for. He's not a filmmaker, So I can't. You can hate Jeff Johns for what? Doing something attempting to do something he wasn't qualified to do, and was never going to be good at. So yeah, but once again, if the people above him don't have the tools to figure that out, and they did not, then it's like, blaming a mentally handicapped person in some case for not being able to do something that a non-handicapped person would do. You have to recognize that that individual has these limitations or has these assets and exploit them. And if you don't have the ability to do that, you can't do it. Like right now, I could have what's called a mentally challenged, or somebody with an intellectual disability. They call it disability. But guess what? You sit down, you talk to that person, you get with their advocate, and you figure out, okay, I know what this file says you can't do, but what can you do? Because you may be a savant, you may be really, really good at something, but you're not good at this. You can't do this, but I can still use you. You need to be able to manage your personnel. But if you don't have the tools to sit down and look beyond what that person's limitations are, you will never get anything out of them. And that's the situation with DC. They just didn't have the ability to do that. James Gunn has a better shot at it, but even he might run into situations,
Yeah. Well, like I've said, excuse me, like I've said before, it's like whatever else we might. I mean, jury's still out, obviously, on his tenure, and whatever else we might say about him. I mean, like you're saying, unlike the past administration, it's like he's actually somebody who has a knowledge and intimate connection and respect for the material he's being asked to handle. So whether or not that ultimately leads to the outcome that they're going for, that obviously we'll cross over when we get to it. But I mean, it's definitely a better starting point than Hamada and a lot of the other past leadership had. So, yeah.
Yes, there was comics. Animatrix was actually excellent.
It was. Yeah,
that's always one of my.
I've seen a few comments in here and people talking about the Animatrix.
Yeah, what do you disagree with me on Fourth? I mean, not that that's a surprise.
Yeah, it's when Fourth says he disagrees, it might not necessarily be.
Nothing about the trailer for the Matrix looked hype. If the Matrix Resurrection trailer was epic, no, nobody gave a fuck about the Matrix in 2021. The train had left. It's nothing about the trailer, because the trailers, a lot of us didn't know what the hell the Matrix was till we saw it, and that was literally the tagline. What is the Matrix? That's literally how they advertised it. But once you got beyond that, and once it became a cultural phenomenon, it took advantage of the time that it was in, which is right. But 2021 wasn't its time. There was nothing you were going to do with that movie that would have made people come out and see it in the droves that you would have needed to make it worth making. Some phenomena have their time. Right? Sometimes not everything can be transported into the 2020s,
Yeah. Well, fun also when we're all in the Matrix. We're in test use as we speak. There is no sci-fi center. It's a hologram, and Brad is an agent. Well, my cover is blown then, Mr. Fun. But as we all know, there is no meaning without purpose. Because as we all know,
No,
without purpose, we would not exist.
Yeah, I'm using the phone as just the level of technology that we've taken for granted now. Everything that was the Matrix introduced, for the most part, all the concept that they introduced was revolutionary for 1999. But guess what? It's not 1999 anymore. So it's the difference between, like I said, they took advantage of a transitioning environment that we were all going through, and now we've all had it. There's nothing cool about the Matrix, and it showed. I mean, you guys can disagree with me on it, but the math showed. And when we did our polling on the movies, because we promoted that movie, we sent people to the day and day thing, and we gave away HBO Max subscriptions for all these movies, for people could watch them, one-offs, and it just wasn't anything to the movie. And the older crowd was like, it's just not special anymore. The younger crowd was like, that's like any other type of movie. That, like I said, The Matrix was the only movie of its time, of its kind, in 1999. It wasn't that unique in 2021, and it was failed at the concept. So,
well, again, I think also the having the image of Keanu as John Wick at that point, it's like I mean, that was presenting something very new as far as his career and his image, and just in general with I mean, it's setting up its own cinematic. It is a cinematic universe, and the contrast to that, I think, probably because John Wick has become such a phenomenon, probably gave a lot of people, led them to conclude, yeah, let's kind of stick with John Wick as far as Keanu, kicking ass kind of movies.
But here's the thing, though: most people haven't seen John Wick. A lot of people haven't seen John Wick, but unless you're into those movies, you haven't seen John Wick. I know more people who haven't seen John Wick than have. But because that's a genre movie, and that's fine. That's what it is. But that's a movie of the day. But like I said, this is a horrible comparison, by the way. Fourth, I knew you were going to do it eventually.
You were expecting Top Gun?
Yeah, I knew this was coming. Nobody cared about Top Gun, but when the trailer came out, everybody cared about Top Gun, because that was a generational thing. See, the Matrix is nothing generational that you could hand down that was special from one moment to another. We still fly jets today. We still have a United States naval air presence.
Tom Cruise still risks life and limb every day.
And Tom Cruise has been on a lot of things that has brought his demographic with him along with that, and a massive demographic. Listen, I love Keanu Reeves, but he's not Tom Cruise level. He with the demographic that would watch the Keanu Reeves movies, a lot of it doesn't jump from one to another, because if you look at his filmography, it just doesn't happen that way. Most of the people who have watched John Wick watch him for John Wick. There's a lot of people who have not even seen The Matrix. You have a lot of 19 and 20-year-olds that are John Wick fans that don't give The Matrix 2 seconds, and are probably a lot of his other filmography. If you look at the math, that adds up. That's where it is. But with Top Gun, you're talking about a cultural phenomenon that was in the 1980s that wasn't about the technology of the 1980s. It wasn't about the environment of the 1980s, because we've always had the Navy, we've always had war, we've always had aircraft, everything that you had in 1986, you were able to carry over 30 years over, because guess what? You still had the jets, you still had Tom Cruise, you still had the story that carried it. So it's not.
You still have the theme of brotherhood and military camaraderie to carry over too.
Yeah. You can make another Top Gun and another Top Gun type movie in 30 years, but the atmosphere that Top Gun took advantage of is very similar, to the one we have now. There was nothing in it other than the time it had lapsed. But you're talking about the revolutionary aspect of Top Gun was the storytelling and Tom Cruise. The revolutionary part of the Matrix was the technology that we were being wowed with at the time, and the technology was the movie. And like I said, the fifth being, or whatever, the movie goer, the pinky up guy might be able to break it down and analyze it further and say, well, it doesn't matter. It does matter, because the average moviegoer is not you, Fourth. The average moviegoer just didn't fucking care about the Matrix anymore. The concept is gone. It's past. It's over.
No. Spider-Man has what do you want to bring up here? Question: will the MCU Kingpin ever say "Enough said"? I don't think so.
He didn't say another one. So.
Well, I think that's probably like kind of a little bit of a nod to Stan Lee is what he's getting at there. Well, I mean, we already got Stan Lee, his Spider-Man his free cameo of with enough said. So it's like I think
this is bullshit. What do you modern? Not when you're trying to bring somebody from a movie that has been a franchise that's been dead since 2003. Nobody fucking cares about the trailer at that point. They care about the concept. The trailers, okay, there was nothing in those. There was no trailer that was going to save the Matrix. Trust me, we promoted that fucking movie. There was no trailer that was going to save that movie. That movie was dead when they said, we're going to make another Matrix movie. That's when that movie died. That movie, the movie was bad. It ended up being bad, but it wasn't even, most people didn't see the movie. Most people didn't care. We showed the trailer. People saw that trailer and still didn't care. There was nothing you could have done with that trailer that they didn't do in the first 3 Matrix movies that would have brought the modern era fan out to see that movie, and it was proven right. Nobody cared about that movie. Nobody cared about the Matrix at this point. It just wasn't that thing. You catch lightning in a bottle, you exploit it when you can, and when it runs out, you move on to something else. It just wasn't its time. It had its time. From 1999 to 2003, The Matrix had its time. That was it. That was where it should have been left, to be honest with you. And I'm a sequel guy. But when your movie is based on that, and we're looking around in our society, and that's not special anymore, the general fan just left it for dead. And,
Spider-Man says Kingpin says enough said. Yeah, but I still don't see. I don't know if I see like D'Onofrio's take on the. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't know if I see them. Maybe because it's so wrapped up in Stan Lee's catchphrase. I don't know if I see them going there. But yeah, I could be wrong. I mean, D'Onofrio's Kingpin, he's a little bit more prone to kind of like the villainous sort of soliloquies and long speeches. And he's very erudite. So I don't know if I vision that. But again, yeah, I could be wrong. If they do, man, it's like I will let you gloat about that to me when that happens. Spider-Man.
There you go, Fourth. You can come on the air and be wrong.
No, Spider-Man is. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna drop the link for him. I'm like, dude, you just. I mean, the math showed you that concept was dead. The concept is dead.
But and
the trailer was not saving that fucking movie, dude.
Yeah, Spider-Man said. No, I'm just kidding. Spider-Man's with it's like I just make that offer when people, we kind of have like a bet about something going that may or may not happen with Cape shit, and say, oh, okay, so if you win, have at it with it. It's that's just how I thought, man. Don't worry.
There was no more story to tell. When you have no more, I say make sequels until as long as you have story to tell. I'm all for that. But once you run out of story, it's over. It's over. Once you run out of story and you're just making a movie with no, just a shell of a movie with nothing to it, then it's over. Not everything needs to last forever. And not everything can be bought back successfully. The Matrix is one of those things. That movie, like I said, and the movie didn't suck just because it was poorly executed. The movie sucked because there was just nothing wowing about it that made it. Everything that made that movie special was its time and past.
But the only thing I would kind of have ask as maybe devil's advocate is again, this does go back to the time frame it was released in, is like with Spider-Man No Way Home being basically just kind of like taking like all of December that year, is like is what percentage, like how much was drawn away from the Matrix, from anything to Spider-Man?
None. The people who were going to see Spider-Man were going to see it. Those people still went and saw multiple movies that year. The Matrix just wasn't one of them. It wasn't like they, most of you got to remember, people were so happy to be having the normalcy back that you had a renaissance in the theaters where they were starting coming back. You had people going to see just about everything that was out. Everything that you look at the numbers during that time when Matrix Revolutions or Matrix Resurrection was released, and the theaters were doing better than they had been. But like I said, it just the concept was done. You told the story that you had to tell. You ran out of story and still tried to fuel your plane with the bad story.
Well, and even with that, I mean, it's like, thematically, a lot of people, hey, fourth. Even thematically, I mean, it's like it's weird because as a lot of people point out thematically, the Matrix Resurrection has this running theme of where it's like the movie itself is questioning whether it should have been made or not.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one thing I caught on with, and I'm like, are these people asking the same question that they should have asked before this movie got greenlit? Because it sounded like they were. So yeah.
Yeah, Aaron, not a fan of Matrix Resurrections.
But the Matrix 3 was confusing. They didn't do a good job of landing the plane. But the Matrix 3 was still part of that trilogy. That was their window to tell that story. I mean,
yeah, I'll be right back, guys.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Fourth. The floor is yours. There's no saving this, but it's already done. I mean,
okay. I'm defending that the Matrix itself is not dead. I'm not defending that movie should have made money. The concept of the Matrix is still a great thing that you can make money off of. The problem was with Resurrections, that movie was half-ass made. It was even rumored that the director didn't even want to make the movie. And Brad disappeared?
He's went somewhere.
Okay. I'm disappointed in Brad that he didn't even defend that the movie was half-assed because who was the martial arts choreographer for that movie?
He would know right up the top of his head.
I don't even know if there was one. Of course there was one, but there's no Wu Ping on that movie. Wu Ping made the first Matrix movies, martial arts, special and fantastic, even for American actors who didn't know martial arts to start with.
It could have been a good movie, and it would have probably still bombed.
No. I would have said that. First off, when I say the trailer matters, if the Matrix Resurrections had the same hype as the trailer for the Reloaded trailer, Reloaded's trailer is probably one of the best trailers ever put together.
It was 20 years ago. Reloaded.
Time doesn't matter. Or was why did Top Gun do so?
Because the cultural significance is what drove
Top Gun do so
movie. Huh?
How did Top Gun do so well? Nobody's dreaming about jets all day long. Just because there's jets in the sky doesn't mean everybody's making a jet movie.
The cultural significance that's in Top Gun is still relevant today. The cultural significance that propelled the Matrix is not as relevant. It's not as new. It's not.
Top Gun is a laughingstock meme. Top Gun is a laughingstock meme that people even say the original movie has a charm to it, but it's not good.
And it's the same charm but the relevancy, like I said, the Matrix was unique in what it was doing at the time it was doing. That was the story. That was the phenomenon. And that's great. It had its time, but not everything. And you have to take it on a case-by-case basis. Not everything can be transported to now because of that cultural significance. It was dead on arrival. Like I said, like Brad said, they were literally asking, why the fuck are we making this movie?
This particular Matrix that we got, yes, was dead on arrival. Had they actually put effort into making it look cool? When you saw the trailers, it was like, okay, well, it's kind of back, but it doesn't feel like it hits.
No, and here's the thing, though. I understand you could make a movie like that. There is room to make a revolutionary movie like that. I don't think you need to do it with The Matrix. The Matrix told its story. The Matrix was about they ran out of story. They told their story. And here's another thing. Since 2003, when The Matrix was a unique concept, there's been a bunch of type movies like that are along that genre. And that genre sort of ran its course, and it's ran into what we are now. Now we got AI. We got all that stuff going on. We have that as cultural relevance, and you'll see movies like that. But The Matrix told its story, and that's what the fans, and this is not just me talking, because like I said, this is the response we were getting, from multi-generation. We took 3 generations, and we sampled. And like I said, the math spoke for itself. The math spoke for the concept.
The math for that movie spoke for yourself. If you had turned off the trailer for The Matrix and you had the same hype for like the BVS trailer, the Comic-Con Batman vs Superman trailer, if your hype levels match, you're saying that's not possible, that they could never make the movie look that good.
You're trying to use examples that fit within certain time frames.
Because Reloaded did have those type of trailers. When the Matrix Reloaded trailer came out, it looked phenomenal. It played amazing.
And it was culturally relevant in the time it was released. It's not when in 2021.
You're saying the Matrix is that dated? The only dated thing about the Matrix is cell phones.
It was the concept. We were not in 1999. We were not immersed like we are now. We were living the Matrix right now for the most part. We were not. There was no the sense of wonder that surrounded the Matrix in 1999 was unlike anything we would ever have because we didn't have that. We weren't blanketed in all these things that we have now. Now it's expectations. Well, society has expectations of certain things, and that kind of takes the wow factor off of these things. And like I said,
we're still engrossed in apocalyptic stories of even the basic simple types today. So
based on what we are doing now, based on where we're at now,
what are we doing now that's so different than the Matrix? The
technology, the environment, what we have. Like I said, we got
what you haven't caught up with.
And plus, it's been 20 years. Not everything is transcended. It just happens that way. Some things are. Some things aren't.
William, let me ask you this might be kind of related, but with what you're talking about, like the Matrix, like within its time, it's kind of lightning in a bottle, thematically, and with everything it has to say about technology. Do you think that's maybe also relevant to? Let's go ahead and read Austin so I can finish my question.
Okay, this is wrong.
Thank you, Austin.
Feeling too, but okay, hold on. It's still absolutely culturally relevant. I think that was him. That's ridiculous to say. No, it's not. Go on social media for 5 seconds, but okay. You're talking about things that are rooted in the now. When you're talking about you have to understand that what made the Matrix relevant at its time is the fact that where we were at. Yes, all these things are relevant now, and they're used to make movies in environments that are relevant to where we are at going forward. But you can't drag the dead donkey that was the Matrix into that. It's better to make movies that are relevant, that just make new movies,
And that goes to the point. The question I was just getting ready to ask, which is that everything you're saying about like the Matrix, like as far as being like lightning in a bottle for pre 21st century, early 21st century, and what it has to say about technology and society and all that. Do you think that's maybe those same factors of why the Terminator franchise has kind of struggled, really struggled post T2?
Yeah, because when those movies came out, where we were at as far as, especially that came out in the Cold War, so new apocalyptic things like that, it was a different feel. Now, since these movies have come out, though, there have been movies that come out that are along those veins that have brought the concept further, that are more relevant now. You've moved the scale up to now. So, like example, Austin is just any of these apocalyptic movies with technology, any of them now that are relevant now. You could tell a type of Matrix story. You could redo that. Now it might not, you would have to use what we're going through now, but that's not what they did in the Matrix. And they had no intentions of making that. That was a continuation of something that had ran out of gas when it was its time. It would be different if we were making something brand new and we were talking about the things that are facing us right now and going even further than that and going forward, because that's what the Matrix was doing. The Matrix was a forward-thinking movie. That's why it was successful.
You still haven't caught up to the Matrix yet. We're barely talking about stuff like the Elon Musk technology. What is it, Neuralink and stuff? We're still way behind the Matrix. To speak as a movie as like
where the movie was at, it's two different things. The movie has already told that story, so now you're gonna have to go even further than that if you want something like that to be like, oh wow, that's fucking cool.
Actually, I like the story for Resurrection. I think the execution was just horrible. The idea that you can link up the two characters as a happily ever after storyline, that they have to come back after being brainwashed by the system, that's not a bad story at all. The execution of everything in the Matrix Resurrections was half-assed, and they got a half-assed response from it. There was no scenes of amazing martial arts. That fight on the train was shot lazily.
When that movie was released, we didn't have that movie with a lot of those movies with amazing martial arts anyway that a lot of people were going to see.
Okay, so why do you go substandard and expect more? You can't go substandard and expect more people to show up for it.
But Neo's fight scene, that kick-ass fight scene that he had,
which one
was great back then. There wasn't a lot going on like that back then.
Aside from how artificial it looks, they haven't really matched anything like it. So
are you talking about the one against the 100 Smiths?
Well, that one was cool. I like that one.
Okay. So let me ask you, William. What in the Resurrections at least matched the 100 Smiths fight?
What's up?
What scene in Matrix Resurrections at least matched the 100 Smiths fight?
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing. But here's the thing. Here's my question to you. If they would have done the 100 Smiths thing right now, would it been after all the types of movies that would have been released in between then, would it have been as significant as it was when it first came out? Once again, remember where we were at.
Clone it, no, but to do it and do it in a different way where you elevate it and you have like
Then just make another movie. Then just then bury the Matrix and make this movie you're talking about. Make this movie.
You still call it the Matrix. Why? Because the Matrix comes with the pre-installed fan base.
Once again, once you in the Matrix brand name,
it's an IP.
What's up? No,
it's an IP, William. We're in the era of IPs. It comes.
We're in the era of IPs that have. Not every IP is successful either. I mean, some IPs have had their time. All these things that you're saying, yeah, let's do them, but we don't need to drag out the dead donkey that was the Matrix that told its story, and that brand name is attached to that era. And nobody's like really, I wonder what happened after the Matrix 3. Nobody fucking cared.
Unless you make them care. That's your job.
By the time
the question is like whether that's an endeavor whether that's a fruitless endeavor to make them care.
Why would it be a fruitless endeavor to make somebody care? That's the job of any movie that you make.
But you're trying to make them care about something. Why don't you make them care about something that is a concept that we can interweave into what we're doing now going forward, like we did when the Matrix was relevant like that.
Wait, I don't understand your question. Why not make somebody care about something else that's not the Matrix, or what?
But if we're going to do that in the time and everything we've had in between 2003 and now, all the revolutionary filmmaking that we have on all different scales, we're in a place in movie making that the Matrix played a very valuable part in. But we've gone so much forward now to where these things are just.
Give me two movies that are more revolutionized than the Matrix.
Once again, something can be revolutionized and still have its time. The revolution happened in 1999, 2003. You have to look around and what you're at. And like I said, you are different. You look at movies in a way that a lot of us do, that the general public, you have to make sure that the general public first gives a fuck about that IP to begin with. And I think most of the part of the Matrix was that nobody cared about the IP at this point. What it means, what it meant in that 3 to 4 year period does not mean the same thing now. And that's part of the appeal. The relatability is just not there. Not in the way that it was in the Matrix. Give me a brand new movie and you can mess around with a lot of the stuff that's relevant now. Yeah, but like I said, that brand name, that IP is attached to a time and a place. Some Top Gun can do it because there's not a lot of Top Gun that is inextricably tied to that era. Tom Cruise is going to live forever. There's jets in the military. There's war. And the story that they were telling wasn't based on the environment. It was based on the people. And a lot of those people were still relevant today. And then the people who are not. You see people when they saw Iceman. Iceman was a crippled old guy that was dying of cancer, right? But that atmosphere, that works. That works because that works and now, and that would have worked then.
It was a great nostalgia piece.
Yeah, but there are things that work in the Matrix that just I knew weren't going to work now. And when I saw that movie, I'm like, wow, this was.
By the way,
my point is though, when you saw that movie, the one that we got was a half-assed turd. Would you say that? Is it fair to say that the Wachowskis did not bring their A game that made the Matrix popular to this?
There was no more A game to bring for that.
No. Can you acknowledge that there was a quality decline in what they brought to the old Matrix for this one?
I can't even get to that point before I get
to get to the point.
And Austin, William, just say you don't. Oh no, I love the franchise. I love the franchise for what it was.
So, do you think you got the same quality with Resurrections as you did with your old franchise?
Well, okay, you got to realize how my mind thinks. If I have already decided that something should not have been made, you're already on the wrong foot because
that's avoiding the question, William.
No, I told you that the quality wasn't there, but there's a reason why. You know why the quality wasn't there too? The story wasn't there. You just can't keep rehashing certain things that had their time. Certain things are stuck in their time, and that's where they're relevant.
By the way, window. And to this point, I mean, this might be relevant because I have the Wikipedia page up right now.
No, my argument, Austin, is the spine of why that movie failed.
Well, and to that point, whether talking about like whether or not they brought their A game, whether or not there was an A game to bring, because of course it had a shutdown due to COVID, and this is during this from the filming section. After filming was halted, Lily Wachowski contemplated the possibility of never finishing film, letting it go down as an incomplete legendary film not meant to be seen by anyone. However, the cast insisted Wachowski return and finish till she agreed. So, so does that speak to maybe kind of what both of you, I guess, are referring to when talking about did they bring their A game, or was there even any game to bring for this?
A game to bring, and no, I can admit that Resurrection was low quality, but what I will admit is that that's not why it was done. Before you got to the quality of that movie, it was dead on arrival.
No, I guarantee if that movie had half the effort put into any of the other Matrices, and you walked away from that first trailer feeling like, okay, that looks pretty fucking cool, it would have been a way better movie.
You have to actually have somebody to go see the movie to come back and say, and there's just people going to see the movie to even go out in the ether and say, oh, this was one way or another.
Well, you need a fire ass trailer to bring them in.
Oh my goodness!
What's so great about Monkey Man? What's so great about Monkey Man? I'm gonna use that as an example.
Well, that is a fire ass trailer.
Thank you, Brad. It's great talking with you, William.
Well, also, but Monkey Man's not coming off of an established IP. It's
exactly.
Introducing.
But there weren't three other Monkey Men that were released in the time when it was relevant.
You guys described it as a John Wick style movie. It's another John Wick in another country.
Now, John Wick is real. We're in that zeitgeist now. If they come back 30 years and drag out Keanu Reeves after they've told their story,
you can only drag him out so many times.
Yeah, and you bring him out there in 30 years, it's just not the environment. It's just not the environment to exploit and take advantage of. It's going to fail too.
I'm just saying, Monkey Man looks great, and there's a fire ash trailer that garnered and stole my interest.
Thank you, Ghostly.
The difference between Top Gun 2 and Resurrections Resolution should not have been made Top Gun 2.
He encapsulated what I wanted to say. I can't say it Ghostly.
But I said, why shouldn't it have been made? That there's no, if you have a story, then you can tell that story. You can tell it well. There was an interesting story there with Matrix by rekindling these two characters that were separated and brainwashed by the Matrix and stuff like that, and they have to work the way out of it. Get the way back to each other and have a happy ending that we didn't get with the original trilogy. There's a story there. It's the way they went about it.
Fun. Right about the Matrix, just relevant.
Relevant to you guys, but not relevant to the general audience. So we have a very small sampling in here, but the general audience is just not buying it, guys. And I'm not telling you that because listen, it was just as easy for me to not go see the movie and just imagine it was never made. But we're asking the question. The question came up, and this is the answer to the question. The general audience already answered that question. And you got the only ambiguity here is the gray area is you guys think a trailer might have saved that movie. I don't think I can save that movie.
Well, when I say the trailer, I mean the general content's being done well done over the course of the movie, where you could cut together a trailer with great visual effects and scenes that we got from the other movies that would have said, okay, this looks pretty interesting to go see it. Not like you could take the exact same. Not that I'm saying you could take the exact movie that we got, recut it together into an interesting trailer. I mean, it'll help probably, but I'm saying a higher effort movie with greater action sequences, new visual effects and ideas.
Listen, in the time that The Matrix has been released, we've got a shitload of great action movies, great martial arts movies, great technologically based movies. We've had that. We did not have in 1999. We were scraping the bottom of the barrel. We didn't have all that. Now you have to kind of one up yourself as these things come up. And like I said, now you're attaching it to an IP. And guys, you keep saying Matrix is relevant now. You can go ahead and stick with that. But Top Gun was not necessarily the same. The part with Top Gun is it's a story that transcended with the people. The people were the story. In Matrix, it was the people and the technology and the environment and everything about that clicked. And a lot of that does not carry over into a fourth movie.
A good writer would have made it carry over. We just didn't get that with this.
Ray has got a good one here. I think The Matrix is as a universal pop culture seal that makes it transcend quality discussion, becomes a critical film theory discussion. Top Gun doesn't compare, and this is objectively true.
Yeah, but I also think, like I said, it's kind of like the Expendables.
Oh God! Don't open that wound for me.
Hold on. I mean, the Expendables had a time when that was popping, and it didn't. You can overstay your welcome sometimes with an IP. And the
Expendables they didn't hit it with all the classic actors in the first movie, and they just kind of missed the boat. And then they kind of subsequently gave you just actors that you didn't really care about, unless you're very pedantic about your action movies. Then it appeals to those guys.
No,
if they would have got all the
is where
classic heroes in the first movie probably would have been way better.
No, the 2 is where they really hit their stride. 2 was definitely the peak of the.
Here's where they should have stopped.
When you're relying on classic action heroes like Kelsey Grammer to step in, then you know you're in trouble.
Two is where they stopped.
And now they're down to Megan Fox. And
oh man,
in the 70 years that Godzilla has been on the thing, though, Godzilla never has finished telling a Godzilla story in some way. We've had Godzilla in every single decade since Godzilla first came out. Godzilla is a continuing story that wasn't about necessarily, one thing. You can go back to the origins of Godzilla, and those origins are relevant now because we're still dealing with nuclear war, or still dealing with the threat of nuclear war. We're still dealing with monsters, but there are things that are transcendent in Godzilla that just are not transcendent at the same way that the Matrix would have needed to be. I mean, you can recraft monster movies are going to exist in every year, in every decade. You can recraft monster movies and horror movies to do that thing. The movie like The Matrix was based on the cultural impact of that time, the whole Y2K, all that stuff. And like I said, you guys can nod your heads. Math won. Math has a championship belt on.
Matrix is an apocalyptic nightmare sci-fi horror that is constantly relevant.
Yeah, but you have to do something relevant with it within the era that you live in. You can't keep bringing out retreads all the time. See, Godzilla never really stopped. Godzilla never finished the story.
Godzilla constantly retreads. It reboots over and over again.
But here's the thing: what decade was there not Godzilla going on?
What decade? I'm saying it reboots constantly over and over again.
But it's a continuous.
You can direct a Godzilla movie poorly, and you can direct a Godzilla movie excellent.
It plays over things that are relevant in every era that it's in, and without stopping. The Matrix just didn't do that. You guys can believe that it did.
It seems that when you judge The Matrix, you judge it based on the era that it's in, frozen in time. But you give other movies the pass as if they always have a relevancy for the future that we live in.
I said Matrix was uniquely different than any of these. That's why when you guys are comparing these movies, no, the Matrix phenomenon was its own thing. You guys can try to defend it. But like I said, people had to care about it and see it. And there's like trailers out there of movies that have done just fine.
I feel like the Expendables movies were just an extension of the Chuck Norris memes. It was only going to last so long. I think you're probably right there. And they cashed in on that. They worked the Chuck Norris joke into the second one. He says Chuck Norris and Sly, they bounce a Chuck Norris fact off of each other. It's the whole thing about it's like, oh, I heard you got bit by a snake, by a king cobra. Yeah, and after 5 days of agony, the cobra died. So yeah, they had a. The
Matrix showed you.
Oh yeah, you're just bringing back bad.
I was there when it came out. Yeah, it's a smaller sample of. There's a time and a place for everything, and you just have to be wary of that. If you're going to try to bring this out, you have to understand that what made your movie work? What made The Matrix work in 1990?
It was an awesome concept that we've never seen before.
Exactly. I'm sorry. In certain ways, not exactly lined up, but in certain ways, we've seen it. We've lived that out.
Yeah, but every new movie is an awesome concept that you've never seen before.
Not like that.
And at some point,
Matrix was special. We just finished saying that The Matrix was special in that regards. When something is not special, that's based on something like that.
It's still an awesome concept to this day.
But okay.
Well, Austin has a good question here. It says, so superheroes, their films are bombing, quality matters, come back with a great Matrix story, and people will fly, not to mention Resurrections came out during COVID.
Okay, really bad. Austin, that might be worse than the 1/4 bottom. Here's why. We've always, from 1938 up till now, have had a constantly evolving, continuing story of superheroes in some way, shape, or form. There is no particular concept that ties those to a particular era that doesn't get advanced upon, that you didn't spend all the interim time advancing on. The Matrix came out, told its story in a culturally relevant time for it, told the story, finished his story, went away for 20 years, should have stayed away for more, and then came back and it wasn't special anymore. You know, it's like that TV that you have that still has a knob that it's in your garage. At that point, that was the coolest thing you had, wasn't it? But when this remote TV came out and all this other stuff, there was a time and place for these things. Not everything carries over. Some things do. And what you guys are making a mistake is because one thing may have carried over means that the Matrix would have. No, everything is unique in that respect. And no, the Matrix, like I said, the Matrix was not one of those things.
I think it applies to every movie that nobody cares about your story until you make them care. And it starts with the trailer, your visuals, and everything on screen. And when the trailer finishes playing, and if the audience who watches the trailer goes, fucking
you guys are talking.
Hold on, I gotta share this with Daniel Martin. Have you seen this movie? Oh, fucking wow. I'm gonna go share this with Larry. Have you seen this? And it travels. Because word of mouth is a thing, even with trailers.
Desire is relevant. It's stronger than that. And like I said, nobody had the desire for this movie anymore.
We're going in circles, but I'll argue that there's a certain energy that you have to have with your trailer that makes people talk about
2002. In 2001, in 1999. Yeah, there was a certain energy, and it was there when this movie came out. It wasn't there before you even started making the movie. The energy that you would have needed for this movie to be successful was never going to be there. It has passed.
Well, yeah, right? Because you have to sell it to a bunch of people who don't have that type of vision. That's why you're a writer when you make these movies, or you're a director. You have to give them a vision, and this was a visionless movie.
You guys are not. You guys are fighting the undefeated heavyweight.
I'll meet you halfway. For the people who said in their heads, "Why are they going to do another Matrix?" That was 20 years ago. These people, the Wachowskis, didn't step up to the plate like they did last time and give them a reason to care. So the Wachowskis proved those people right, which is why you feel vindicated about this women.
No, because even before I knew who was doing it, when they first announced, "Hey, we're doing another Matrix movie," I'm like, "Oh well, fucking what the fuck for? It's gonna bomb." Before I knew who was directing it, before a pin was put to paper, as soon as they say, "Hey, we're doing another Matrix movie," I'm like, "Okay, that's gonna bomb."
Even if Denis Villeneuve,
I didn't need to see shit from it.
What if Denis Villeneuve directed it?
Oh, Aaron has a little mic drop here. The action scenes in The Matrix 4 weren't up to par with the previous two movies. I wonder if The Matrix 4 would have been better if it was filmed in Australia. Oh, well, that's Aaron speaking of hometown pride there.
There you go.
You got an interest in there? You want to?
And Matrix, for one thing, was one of the first films that I kind of paid attention that were, visual films next to Lord of the Rings that was coming up. But Lord of the Rings was obviously fantasy stuff. But Matrix had a very unique kind of style, borrowed, from different, inspirations, and none of that even made it into this movie. The Matrix was one of those first, or the last movie in the 90s that promoted cool, right? You fought with your shades on, and there was a certain type of, an air about the movie that kind of played where, hey, these characters are fucking cool, and there was nothing cool about that movie. It was just missing. It missed every branch on the charm tree all the way down to its own demise. It had nothing going for it.
It had even less. Like I said, here's where you could have saved yourself with the, "Hey, boss, we got an idea for Matrix number 4, and I have that trap door that Jabba has in his house, and I hit it, and you go away." That's what would have saved that movie. Like I said, it should have never been made, but it was made, and Math has another belt. Probably like this. Math has probably got like a bunch of trophies and belts because it's never going to lose. It's told you that movie would never.
It's funny that you're defending Math, but you don't believe in the magic of movies and imagination. That there's not one possibility, that they could make something that would have wowed you. That probably could have done well.
Math and magic don't mate. Those are two different species sometimes. And right here,
the magic of movies outdoes math. Stranger things have happened.
You have to maintain the magic. You have to maintain the magic in order for the math to work. And you couldn't do it. And a lot of it is because there was no magic left. The magic was the era. The magic was the time. And not a lot of the stuff in the Matrix was transcended. Not like a monster, not like a giant lizard, which would be existential in any decade. Not like, airplanes and jets in the military, which is going to be any decade. You had certain things that were very special and unique in that Matrix era that just weren't going to transfer over in this era. You may as well just make other movies.
The magic of DC movies are kind of over?
No, or Marvel. Because why? Because we've been telling comic book stories like this, throughout.
But they're products of their time.
each individual movie. The Matrix story was a product of his time, not the characters of comic. Comic characters are pretty much timeless, but the story, just like Superman.
Actually, I would say that wasn't even a good comeback on you or a good debate. You're going to say, but I was like, yeah, I thought about that. That's not a good example.
It was excellent.
Well, this is just what I'm hearing right now.
Hey, because Brad saw two black guys having an argument, and he went straight to
that one.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, turn that off before we get kicked off, man.
You start rapping over it, William.
No, I don't want to be like, you're not demonetized, we ain't making any money, but you've been kicked off of YouTube. I'm like, what? This is a good shit. No, I disagree. But you guys, hey, listen, you guys think that the Matrix could have been salvaged? All right.
Yeah, we'll agree to disagree. We're arguing math versus magic, and we're very ordained.
They don't fuck, but one leads to the other. And you, like I said, you're not mating magic with you have to have the magic still there to for the math to even to happen. And I just like I said, it's coming from somebody who loved the Matrix. But as soon as I heard that they were making the one, I'm like, I knew exactly how this was going to end.
All I'll ask is, Williams, you just don't stop believing, man.
No, let's make a movie that's culturally relevant now that we can go forward. What's going to blow me away now? There's nothing left in the Matrix to blow me away, or anybody else for that matter. To be honest with you, some of you guys in the chat maybe, but it was going to take a lot more than that. Like I said,
some guy working on the script in his basement has a light bulb go off, and nothing we could have predicted, and it makes it to the pitch meeting, and it gets the green light, and we're like.
I just hope there's somebody in that pitch meeting. And like I said, if you come to me with Matrix 4, I'm going to be like, what are you doing? When the ranker's going to eat you up. That's what's going to happen. Now if you come to me with some kick-ass concept of forward thinking that we're thinking now that can transcend to be relevant now and our potential. What was so science fiction about the Matrix was a lot of the stuff wasn't even. And like I said, it was conceptual. Now we've lived through that concept, and it really took away a lot of what the.
We have,
yeah. As far as entertainment value goes,
well, a lot of this stuff is very cyclical. We've seen a lot of these concepts just be reused and reapplied to different names and different characters. But I mean, the Matrix set the bar, and it is remembered.
I 100% agree there. They set the bar. But that doesn't mean it was relevant enough in 2020 and 2021 for you to drag the dead donkey out and then try to give it mouth to mouth and hey, we need more. We want to make some more money. Like I said, continue sequels as long as you have a relevant story to tell. Stop when you don't. It's really that simple for me.
Well, then with that, then they should have stopped at T2.
No, because T3 was good.
T3 was not good.
It was awesome, man.
T3 ruined the franchise.
You guys are always talking time travel, and you want to dismiss the time travel magic of D3. That's fine. But here's the thing, though. That is a perfect IP to bring up because as it came on, they've consistently tried, with the exception of the TV show, they have failed to capture what made that special, and that's why the IP is dead right now. And that's why James Cameron is like, he could probably buy the IP and do it, but he wants to wait until it's culturally relevant again.
I'll say that T3 ruined the franchise because you had part one that the future was set, right? Part two, the future was not set, and it ends on an optimistic note where we get to choose a future for ourselves, and it's a great send off. By the time you do 3, you have to pick between one of the first 2 values, and they went back to the first movie, which nullified the efforts of the second movie and the happy ending that we got.
To ditch common sense,
and it just became a Terminator: The Adventures Continues storyline. You don't.
No. It's you. If you're following the story, you understand that 3 had to happen because. Okay, all right. When Dyson dies, why the fuck is everyone there? If everything was tied to that, we get to make our own future. Let's go out and ride in the night on our motorcycles because we save the world. None of those motherfuckers should be there. Sarah Connor's the only one who should be sitting in a room by herself wondering, why the fuck am I in this basement or wherever the hell I am? Because there's no John Connor, because there was no reason to send Kyle Reese back. So
you can blame it on the way they chose to depict time. They're not going to just disappear and vanish and go into their own time zone.
You said was the great one. They chose to depict time because there was still story to tell there. Yeah, exactly. Once that happens, then there's no reason. Then it should have ended not with her talking about, oh, the fate is what we make. No, you're not pregnant. You never had a kid. You never. Kyle Reese never came back and banged you. There was no reason to send them back. There was no reason to send them back. So if you were going to say that was the way it was supposed to end, then that's the way it should. She should be wandering around or like back at her waitress job or something like that, or a totally different thing.
You're taking the other time travel movies you've watched too seriously and applying it to something that it doesn't apply.
They said.
I'm sure you had a good time while watching the Avengers movie who explained that their timelines don't affect other timelines.
You said over and over that the Avengers movies were bullshit. I play by the rules that the storyteller gives me, and if you go by Terminator's rules, then it's bullshit because. Soon as if you're saying that this is how Cyberdyne is created and you've gotten rid of all that, then why the fuck is it still there? Why is John Connor should disappear? He should be like Thanos, just at the end of Endgame, disappearing.
Because he chose not to do it that way. It wasn't supposed to just everybody starts vanishing and disappearing like a ghost.
You can't set time travel rules and then not play by the rules. I'm going by their rules that they set in Terminator 1, Terminator 2. They said
it would be too cynical of an ending if you had John Connor disappear and all people start rearranging.
But then you're saying that by that admission, you're saying that
I understand you read the grandfather's clock rule or whatever. It was a grandfather time rule.
Yeah, that I went by the rules that they set. I go by the rules that storyteller in any particular movie says. And if you were going to tell me that this is a byproduct and the causation of this, then that's fine. Then I'm okay. You have to be okay with a Terminator 3. You may not be okay with the quality of it, but the significance of it and the common sense of it is there because they did not stop Judgment Day.
You say the quality of Terminator 3 was better, then it would have been a better movie?
In your eyes, maybe, but the concept of
would have been better in the box office?
It did all right at the box office.
Yeah, it's Terminator 1, Terminator 2, and that is it.
Yeah, Terminator 2, once again, the ending of it. The ending of Terminator 2 is a bullshit ending if you just leave it there. Oh, wait. We did all this for this reason, and you're still fucking here. John Connor, what are you doing here? Kyle never had to come back and put on homeless people's clothes and for the entire movie and lure a hot Lyndall Hamilton by then, impregnate her to have you. Never had to happen if everything in that movie is true, right?
You could pick from a litany of time travel rules and whatnot. This is James Cameron.
Their rules in that movie. Let's go by their rules in that movie. Then the movie fails. If they ended that too, then
how come none of the characters acknowledge? How come John Connor's still here?
I just asked you that.
You applied it.
Yeah, why?
That's not the way that movie's supposed to end. People don't disappear like that in Terminator movies.
Then give Avengers Endgame bullshit time travel rules, but you gave the whole premise of Terminator was linear time. So, like I said, let's go ahead and end it then. Sarah Connor should be like doing something else. Is selling Mary Kay or something or whatever life she would have lived without with Kyle Reese coming back. Then you're just gonna leave it at that. Then that's fine. But if you're not, that means you still have a story to tell. It's just what I contend, and they explained it. They explained exactly why things happened the way they did,
and thus the downturn of the Terminator franchise.
No, Genesis and Salvation. That's the downturn.
Terminator 3 was corny.
No,
that movie was corny.
Get into Dr. Matt Smith Terminator, all that. Those movies were bad. That's what guys.
It went from laughing with Arnold to laughing at Arnold.
And that was too, and they kept going back once again. Once you just kept going back to that well without a story to tell, and Genesis was horrible and Salvation was bullshit. But some people liked it, some people didn't. That's why right now the franchise is pretty much waiting for somebody with enough money to buy it and do something different. But it needs time. You need time away from the Terminator franchise because they just ran it into the ground with no real premise. But Terminator 2, I like Terminator 2. But like I said, when I'm sitting there in summer 1991 wondering, wait a minute, Dyson's dead. Dyson created Cyberdyne. Terminator melted himself. Everything that's supposed to lead to the creation of Cyberdyne is gone. What the fuck are you doing here? What the fuck are you doing here?
It just depends on how their time travel rules work. Everybody has different rules.
Well, hold on.
Remember, you accepted the Avengers timeline when they said that time travel doesn't affect.
I did not. I stood up on a hill saying that was bullshit while I was watching the movie.
That's fine, but they made up their own rules, and that's the way they played it. So you have to go abide by the rules.
The Avengers Endgame played by their own bullshit Back to the Future Scooby Doo rules. They stayed consistent with that bullshit.
And Terminator's the same way.
No, they did not. Because you're telling me the whole story that if this guy stops this from being created, that the future never happens. Well, if the future doesn't happen, then you're not having John Connor. There's no reason for the robots to send them back. There's no reason for anything. You're literally within your own movie eliminating the reason for the movie, unless you tell me that that's not that point in time that it happens, which is I can understand that way. You're not saying that it won't happen. And like you said in Terminator 3, Judgment Day was inevitable because they didn't know where they could stop it. It was programming. It just happened sooner because you found the technology sooner, because the paradox that the robots created technically the robots are fucking themselves because they're always going to send back the tool of their downfall, which is hilarious.
In a cynical, bleak take, then it's just never over for these characters and they never rest.
Yeah, but like I said, it's
not a story.
It's Terminator. It's one of the most successful. Was one of the most successful franchises in the.
That's a part two. But yeah, well, thanks, William. It's been a good. It's been a good day.
All right. All right, man. See you later, Fourth.
All right.
Here, Fourth.
Take care.
All right. Oh, you said goodbye. All right. Well, that was your fault.
Yeah, of course. Do I even dare bring up any comments? So we've gone for like just over 2 hours now, too. So.
Yeah, it is time to go. Yeah, it's 12:39. So yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this up. You guys are trying. Hey, listen. It's all subjective. It's all subjective. I was typing while the topic changed. Yeah, that happens here. How does Top Gun amount to anything more than the action drama? No, you are 100% right. But action dramas like that, it's not based on any era specific things that were happening. And the Matrix was more than that. The Matrix, part of the Matrix, most of the Matrix appeal is the wow factor that it gave you, the phenomenon that it started. That's not always transferable. Action movies they've been making action movies for years and rom-coms for years. But if you make a rom-com that is based on, something that is relevant to a particular era, it doesn't always transfer over, to things that, sometimes it does, but in many cases it doesn't. And you got to be careful when at the concept stage, Top Gun had things that were transferable from 1980 to now. It had, if you break Top Gun down and by the molecule, it has the same successful things that have been movies the whole time. It's not reliant. That's the word I was trying to get. It's not reliant on those on exterior aspects other than the things that are relevant today. The Matrix is reliant on too many things that are just not wow factors today, and I don't think there's anything that can save it. And that's my opinion. Everybody's got a right to their opinion. That's why I brought Fourth on instead of just typing out of the bottom. I think it's point.
Well, and after that, debate between Fourth and weigh over both the Matrix and Terminator, I think we can all safely say one thing after that.
Ain't gonna be no rematch. Go on.
Of course there will, though. Dr. Steve was relevant, not literally cheating, shining light. Yeah, and like I said, you guys are not bringing up the worst examples in the world, but you're not every movie. You have to sit and look at every movie. So there's no blanket. Just because The Matrix, in my opinion, didn't carry over the cultural relevance that made it special and made it its money then, doesn't mean that there's other movies that cannot. You just have to look around and see if you can make that same connection. So the Cold War. The Cold War was a big element of a lot of movies that were released in the 80s. When you try to remake those movies or try to continue some of those movies, it's not necessarily the same. It failed in Red Dawn, but it succeeded in Top Gun, because even though that movie was part of the Cold War and the unnamed Russian pilots or whatever the hell they were, that wasn't the only aspect about the movie. You could strip away everything about that movie. Okay, and here's a best way to determine it. When you strip away a lot of the things that made Top Gun what it was, you're not. It's about a pilot, so you're not going to strip away the plane. You don't have to, because we have those today. You're not going to the people, the command structure, all that is relevant today. If you strip all the way that, you can move Top Gun in any era you want to. There are certain things about the Matrix that you cannot strip away that to make it relevant or irrelevant one way or another. And if you can't do that, then it's not. There's no catch. Everybody's defending these movies based on their experiences with their opinion about. But when you're somebody who has to sell these movies to the masses, like a studio, you got to do a better job than they did. They did not do a good job at the concept base. It just wasn't the time for Matrix revolutions or resurrections, and it showed. It showed. No, he failed. Don't be. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. No, fourth left. But wow, come on. I'm not. I don't. Why would I bring him on? Just to kick him off. Kick Brad off. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. Oh, he was just joking. Oh no, Ray is joking. No, I did not kick him off. Did you hear him say goodbye? Rewind that and listen to what he says. All right, let's see. Terminator movies. We go back to being serious. It's a legit comedy. Eli, I long for the days. He got Jabba's door. Yeah, I Jabba's doored him, but no. There's no admission to make. If you didn't enjoy Rebel Moon, that's a subjective opinion. There's no me telling you that it's I can't.
And also wait for them to release the Snyder Cut in a couple of months. I mean, not to beat that drum too hard, but I mean we are aware that there's structurally the extended versions of both the first one and the second one are going to be significantly different experiences of both of them. So maybe it's like final verdict probably should.
You want to come back on for the same link that I said you want to come back and say goodbye? Then I can kick you out properly. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. Yes, Rebel Moon is very mid. Like I said, there's no. If you think Rebel Moon was a mid, that's no. Remember when people came out with their criticism. When people came out with their criticism of Rebel Moon, I told you, like you said, there's a lot of legit criticisms of it. But did I still have fun with it? Yeah. But if you didn't, I can't make an argument. To say you should have liked it. I mean, people came out with a lot of legitimate, but there was a lot of illegitimate bullshit.
You're trying to silence Fourth.
Oh, geez.
I stand with Fourth.
Here's a hashtag I don't need. There's t-shirts that I can't get. All right. Yeah, thank you. All right, that went way. I mean, that went. We're 2 hours and 14 minutes, and I'm hungry. I bought some really healthy food that I think I should eat because I'm cutting out a lot of stuff out of my diet. So I got a lot of just fruits and vegetables and fried, and these buffalo wings that are cauliflowers. Man, they taste great. They're like buffalo wings, but they're it's weird. I'll take a picture of it. I am starving now because I thought we were going to be up about an hour and a half, but Fourth and Brad ambushed me. And then Ray helped him.
What the hell did I do?
All right, guys. Wow. That's what happens when you don't have a topic and you just go and it just jumps into one topic. It would be hard to timestamp this episode because we were all over the fucking place. All right. So we're starting the week. Mondays are depressing for people sometimes, but hey, it's just a day. What we really got to start doing is finding the happiness in all this stuff. I got to do it. You guys got to do it. We all got to do it. I hope that this show and what we do and the conversations we have helps. But in the interim, when I'm not making you happy, or Brad's not making you happy, or Fourth is not, destroying himself on air without, with a little help from me. If you need an extra tool to get you through the next day, the next conversation, 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, 24/7, call, text, chat. Like I said, just do whatever you need to do to get from one day to the next. And these guys help. These guys will help bridge that gap. Everybody you talk to on this line has a wealth of experience in dealing with it, and many of them are in the positions and on the phone with you or on the text with you because they've made it through. And that's the first thing you need to know when you reach out to somebody like this is that where you're at right now, they made it through, and that's proof that you can too. All right, Brad, where can I find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Vero. You can find me on Facebook. Of course, we check out all my great writing out there, and also, I mean, I guess you can find me here being referee between these debates between William and Forth.
Well, there's no, like I said, I took the chair shot. So, all right. Well, we will be back on the air. Should be back on the air tomorrow.
Comment: Rhea had to get in.
No, we didn't need a good burger one, but we got it. But hey, that was when was it was. But hey, that's talk about a concept that should have been drowned in the bathwater. All right, guys. Please like, subscribe, share, bring others to the conversation if you enjoy the conversation, and we will see you tomorrow night at some point.
And there, guys.